Hello and welcome back to the Raspberry Podcast. Today I am joined by Pete Letsos, aka Pete the Greek. Pete is a really interesting guy. He's a Carlson Gracie Jr. black belt. I spent a lot of time in Brazil in the early 2000s when there really weren't that many non-Brazilians. There weren't many gringos out there. He trained with some really of the most famous legendary teams and with some really legendary characters. So he has some very cool stories from that. He is also known for wanting to wrist lock the world. He's big into wrist locks, which a lot of people aren't doing. So he's currently traveling the world trying to teach people how to break each other's wrists. And he's recently just released a instructional DVD with BJJ Fanatics. So if you're interested in wrist locking the world like Pete does, then you can go and check that out. But really glad that I got an opportunity and a chance to catch him on his travels and sit down and have a chat to him. And I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Check it out. Okay, brother, shall we?
There we go.
Let's get it on. Firstly, thank you very much for joining me, Pete. It's great to have you on here.
So you're the Raspberry 8.
That's what they call me.
You look like an 8, but why is it raspberry?
Oh, man, I have the true story is that I really like raspberries, you know. That's the true story, but it was just the name so ambiguous that I could make up a very elaborate, fictitious tales about how I got my name, and people would believe it. If I was convinced enough, I could sell the story. So when you ask me on here, I can't lie on my own podcast, but when I go on another podcast and they ask me how I got my name, I'll give them some grand, ridiculous story, and they eat it up.
Well, the other day I was eating a raspberry.
Yeah.
And the seed got caught in my tooth.
Oh, that's annoying.
And it I think it pushed something down, so I'm in like nerve pain right now. So
really? Something so small could do so much damage. Very much like a wrist lock.
Just like, and sometimes you just got to wrist lock yourself. Like if you want to learn like the proper angle, who better to do it to?
Absolutely, than yourself, right?
Because if you do it like this, it slides off. But if you trap over it, no, it's not going to slide off. It's stuck.
So that's where I wanted to start with you. I wanted to start talking about wrist locks because you're over here in the UK at the moment. You're doing your wrist lock the world. You've got the logo. You've got the T-shirt. I love it. I love the idea. I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were talking about how there's cycles of popular techniques, and the cycle tends to go that there's a technique that a lot of people don't do. Someone starts doing it well, and then you expose the majority of people because they don't understand it because it's not a popular technique. So first it was with like the 50-50 guard and the Berimbolo, then it was with the heel hook, and that's kind of where we're at the moment with the leg lock game. And I've spoken to a few people who believe that it will either be neck cranks or wrist locks that are going to be the next sort of, because the heel hooks used to be like the prison rules, right?
Yeah.
So no, everyone would avoid it, and now everyone's having to do it because they started getting caught with it. So I think I kind of believe them that it's going to be either the neck cranks or the wrist locks, which are also dirty techniques that are going to come into fashion soon. What do you reckon?
Well, the neck is kind of built like a wrist, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to bend it.
Uh-huh.
In a wrist lock, you're just trying to bend it. But of course, with most of the submission holds, you extend it, you compress it. But then like with the advanced techniques, there's actually a twisting motion in it too. So like, for example, with just an ankle lock, you're extending it, but then with a heel hook, you have the twist. So I actually have wrist hooks as well.
Wrist hooks?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Like the wrist lock would kind of be like...
The wrist lock is just flexion.
Just bring it straight down.
Yeah, I got you.
But a wrist hook would be like a heel hook.
You're twisting as well.
That's where you're twisting it. Because when you bring it straight down, I'm sure if I brought your wrist straight down, you'll be able to make a fist pretty easily.
Sure.
But if I was able to put that little twist in it,
yeah.
See, it's way harder. So it's still a wrist lock.
So talking about wrist locks, let's start off with, because just I'm interested. You know, you're someone who's big in, you know, when someone has kind of this niche that they do, something that they do very well that a lot of people don't do. I'm always interested in how they got into doing that. So when did you first started getting all excited about wrist locking?
The first wrist lock I learned, I was around 15 years old.
Okay. Was that in a BJJ class?
It was Carlson Gracie Jr. showed me, he's like, boy, peach. Because they call me in Portuguese, I'm peach.
Peach.
And spelled P-I-T like a dog.
Uh-huh.
So like, People actually over there thought I was named after a dog, like a pit bull. So it was pretty cool because at least it's not like bitch, you know?
Which is most of the Brazilian nicknames are quite offensive, but
yeah. So
like,
mine was Peach Boo.
That's
Carlson. Like this is my, he's like my son, Peach Boo. And shoot, I grew up like pretty much in the Gracie family. When I lived with Carlson Gracie Jr., we moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and we went to like college bar, and right away like people recognized him and stuff, and he introduced me as Pete Gracie. So when I lived in kind of like Vitor, I gave him Vitor Gracie. But when I lived in Cincinnati, Ohio for 2 years, everyone just thought I was a Gracie. It was hilarious.
That's wicked.
And the first wrist lock, I remember Junior was showing me, Carlson Gracie Jr. When you train jiu-jitsu, there's a junior in every gym. So I'm specifying it's Carlson Gracie Jr. And he was just showing me some basic self-defense. And one of the main ones is when someone's pushing on your chest, boom, you dominate their elbow. So why would you dominate the elbow? Because when you're attacking the wrist, you want to dominate the joint below the joint you're attacking, which is the same with a heel hook and an ankle lock.
You want to control the knee line.
You want to control the kney line. So, other ones like with a neck crank, you're controlling the actual joint, right? Like you're not controlling the joint beneath the neck. Like how's that even going to happen? So wrist locks and heel hooks are kind of super similar, or ankle locks or wrist hooks, whatever you want to call them.
Well, I guess it's the last big joint of the limb, so the wrist and the ankle, elbow,
You got fingers
knee.
too, though.
Yeah.
I got finger locks too and thumb locks.
Are you allowed to do that?
Pretty much everything. I don't think I'm allowed to do anything in jiu-jitsu. I mean, once it becomes an Olympics, it'll just be like...
Do you think that will happen?
Depends on the rule set. It depends on the rule set, because the way the rules are set up, it's people are basically hugging each other. Like you're like the world champion at hugging someone. So I don't think people want to see that. I'll give you an example. If you show, let's say like you get a girlfriend or something, or whoever, a friend, and they want to see what jiu-jitsu's about, they're going to be bored out of their mind watching matches, because it's not really that fun to watch unless you do it. So with the wrist lock, Carlson Gracie Jr. is like, Pete, if someone's pushing on you, do this to them. Then he showed me how to hide my head, because if you step with the wrong foot when you're trying to do the wrist lock, you're giving your back. So you want to, step outside the person's leg, hide your head. And with any of the moves, you're thinking of self-defense, mixed martial arts, and gi jiu-jitsu. So the wrist lock works for all of those. And so that was that. I knew the basic wrist lock. I knew about, there's like 37 self-defense moves that Ilio does. He even does donkey guard. Like if you look at any of the Ilio Gracie books, like everyone knows the Gracie self-defense when someone's grabbing behind you.
Yeah.
He just reaches down, pulls up the knee and pulls up. That's donkey guard.
Yeah.
But like Glover does it, he'll put his hands in around and jump into the person, causing a ton more pressure, as opposed to reaching down and trying to pick up the guy's leg.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of hard to lift someone. So back to the wrist lock. I was going on the bus with Scotty from On the Mat, and he lived in Baja, which is it's a suburb, not really a suburb, I don't know, in Mexico, in Colonias, but it's just like an area outside of Rio de Janeiro, about 45-minute bus ride. And Scotty lived over there, and I used to help him pay his rent every month. Why? Because in Brazil, you don't pay the rent like to your landlord. In some of these apartments, he lived in Baja, he had to go all the way downtown to pay his rent. And that was only once a month, so I'd always go with him. We go on our skateboards and this cruise. But there's a lot of traffic. It was raining one day like this. So you're already on the bus for like an hour and a half. And this guy's like, let's get off the bus. I hear there's this team over here called Oswaldo Alves. They got some really good blue belts and purple belts and brown. Not so many black belts.
This was early, though.
This was about 2001.
Uh-huh.
And so right away we get off. And I remember my ribs were popped. Sometimes in jiu-jitsu, you like stretch your ribs. And they were like that for about 2 weeks. So I didn't train for 2 weeks. And we go into this neighborhood, which is Copacabana. This is the very beginning of Copacabana. Copacabana's a pretty long stretch. And so get off the bus, and we go right into this little gym, Oswaldo Alves. And I didn't know what to expect. And they looked at me and was like, hey, you want to train? I'll just watch today, I said. My ribs are a little bit sore. and we got the World Championships coming up in a few weeks, so I want to rest. But then right away I start seeing them doing new stuff, and I don't care. When you see people doing something new, you want to get out there and try it.
Yeah.
So they started doing all these drills, and I remember Andre Galvan was there, Jacare, Bibiano Fernandez, Fredson Paixão. So we were like a wrist lock crew. There's like 5 or 6 of us. And I go in there, and I guess like there hadn't been too many Americans visiting Brazil at that point. Like there was a few, but most of those guys were going to Brazil for other things.
Yeah.
Like they would train, sure they trained. They had a gi or whatever you want to call it, but
They were going there to have fun.
they were going there to have fun.
Yeah.
Like I was actually there. I was training 10 hours a day, minimum.
10 hours a day?
Yeah, because you break your day up into 2 days. So you're not 10 hours straight.
Sure.
So you do like 5 hours in the morning and 5 hours in the afternoon.
5 hours.
Yeah, but you have to know how to train. So
Like
it's
how?
not like it's not training like you have maintenance training and you have like skills training. It's like the first part of your career you're gonna do like skills and it's gonna take a lot of time. You're gonna spend hours and hours. But then like some like your age or my age, you don't need to train like that anymore. It'd actually be counterproductive. Right now, like I can get everything I need done in 1 hour.
Sure.
Like max, like 45 minutes. I know my routine.
Yeah.
I can get anything I need done in 45 minutes, and you don't need 8 hours. But at some point, it's good to train like that, especially if you have a crew training like that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't part of their team or anything. I was from Carlson's team, and Carlson's team had a falling out. So I was kind of like a Ronin, you call it. Like, but I'm not a samurai.
Yeah.
And we go in there, and I see them doing the drills, and I'm like, wow, those look pretty cool. And they're like now probably everyone's seen them. They're called the Oswaldo Alves drill. It's just going like semicircles, side to side, to side to side, to side to side. And that's building your coordination. So I'm like, wow, these guys are pretty cool. So I was getting time to roll. And they're like, you have a gi? I'm like, no, I don't have a gi. And at Oswaldo's, they always have like, they have every belt hanging on the pull-up bar. It's a little gym. We lived in a place double the size of the room. With a little bathroom. So it was
And
like,
if you're listening, it's not a big room.
it's not a big room. It's probably about 20 by, maybe like 20 by, no 20. I would say maybe like 10 by 12. So we're over there and they always have clean gis. I mean, clean as far as like it's pressed from the laundromat. You can feel it when you have the gis pressed. It's like, no, brother. We have a gi for you. We have a belt for you. We have everything. Oh, shoot, I'm training. So right away, we battled it out, and they didn't expect me. Like, I had a few tricks up my sleeve, and if you've never trained with me before, I'll be able to catch anyone with them. And they couldn't believe I swept them all. Boom, boom, boom. Start putting pressure, passing. And then a few weeks later, well, not even. I think I came back right away. Next day, I was like, yeah, I'm here. Like, how's your ribs? They feel great. Because I don't even think I was hurt. It was like mentally.
Yeah.
It was a mental block. And then I started training with them for about 2 weeks leading up to the Worlds. But I remember if you grab Fredson's collar, you're going to start screaming. So, like, we never really started on our knees at Oswaldo's because he comes from a judo background.
Always be from standing.
Always. No matter what. Like, our gym was pros. If you were a visitor and came to our gym, like, I didn't pay anything. I lived in the gym. I paid what I could. Like, all just pay what he could. We'd eat cheap. Everything he did was together. And if an outsider would come, it would bring stress on our gym because they don't know anything. And then, like, we got to, like, take care of them. And so I'd be the guy to tell, like, for example, a guy come from France or a guy come from Tel Aviv or somewhere. And we're really nice and we show them everything possible. And they've never seen any of this. And then they don't even want to pay. So we're like, hey, dude, you got to pay now. You want to train with us. There's only like 5 of us, and you're kind of getting in our way. I don't say that right away. Like, well, how much you want to pay? I'm $300 a month. They're like, what? What? How much do you pay? I'm like, doesn't matter. It's like, I pay $500 a month. That's what I tell them. Actually, I pay $1,000. And then, that's when... There would be a guy who'd want a wrist lock right there.
Yeah.
So then Fredson start wrist locking everyone. I think I grabbed his collar and everyone does a scream like, ah! Fredson was a terror on wrists.
Well, I remember you said Jacare was one of the guys you were training with.
Jacare,
He has that famous iconic wrist lock that he got in the World Championships, right?
Yeah, we all caught him. All of us.
Guy comes out, just grabs onto his collar straight away, and it's all over.
I got one of the worlds too. See, back then no one was really filming, and I was always superstitious.
Yeah.
I never want to tell like my team, like, "Hey, Fredson, you gonna film me today?" Like, no, the videos would come up. We figure if you did that good, it'd come up. But a lot of times they didn't because no one had iPhones. We had Nokia phones.
Yeah.
Fredson had just wristlocked Yuki Nakai from the Mount.
Wow.
That one's horrible. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
So you could Google that, and yeah, like you see Oswaldo look away, like he goes like this, because we always thought it was funny when we wristlock people, because like I got wrist locked, and we always make up excuses. If one of us got wrist locked hard, we'd be like, oh, it fell off our skateboard or something. You know, we never say like
You'd never
we
admit.
got wrist locked. No, never admit it. And then like we'd always have code words if it was time to wrist lock. So like they look at me and be like skate, like skateboard,
okay.
you know, like
Yeah.
and boom, you just break the dude's wrist off.
In competition, yeah.
Or wherever. Mostly at Oswaldo's, it's a little gym. Like I said, it's a little gym like this in the middle of like the red light district of Rio de Janeiro. And in our building, like for example, you go on the floor and what they used to call it. Yeah, I don't even remember the exact. Well, it sounded like Kickboxer 3, like when Van Damme's look like Michael Bernhardt. He's actually my friend. He directs The Matrix and John Wick. It's like going through the area, scoping it out, and that's exactly where we lived.
Yeah.
It's a little area, Rio, at the end of Copacabana where there's light. It's Belfort Roxo con Princesa Isabel. They call it Lido. Lido's like the area, and so it's like a rough area. You walk around in the alley, there'd be dead people there.
Shit.
And it's not like people be like, oh, they're a dead person. You're just trying to like get your shoes dirty. Just walk around them. So we're in that area, and the building is wild. Inside there's like a little sauna. It's like okay, it's not to offend people. There's a gay sauna in there.
Okay.
There's a church, evangelical church. There was a Japanese restaurant on the bottom, Donna Keiko, and she'd give us all free food. Like we had the best Japanese food, so every lunch was Japanese style, yakisoba, everything. And she pretty much sponsored us, so we'd have the best Japanese food after training every single day. And what else do we have in this building? We had our gym, and on the top they had a girly place. So it was like heaven and hell meets. And people would come in, and they'd always come into our gym. You have black belts for many, many years. There's a lot of black belts in Brazil that you never heard of. Like, they don't care about competing. They've been doing it their whole life. It's like skateboarding.
Yeah.
And they'll just walk in. They always tell us the same thing. Like, or we'd have ex-like world champs come in. You have all types of people. And they always say the same thing. Oh, can we train here? We haven't trained in a long time. We're thinking, yeah, right. If you're not training a long time, why are you showing up here? You know, we're the hottest team in Rio.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how you find up and coming gyms. Now you're not the team with all the oldest black belts. It's the team with the purple belts coming up and the blue belts, because those are going to make the best black belts.
That's right.
And so I found that team, and we all lived in there. It was really cool, and this building would actually close on the weekends. So it was kind of like the Spartan warriors back in the old days. Like the Spartans, they'd feed them like basic food, like grains and stuff. And when they'd go to the markets, it was encouraged that they would like not really steal, but just kind of like they weren't allowed to pay for it. They had to get better food for themselves. So it'd be whether just having the presence. Like when I go with Tony D'Souza to the markets, we have our bags. He invented Peruvian necktie. So if we're walking around Cusco and we go to a market, we have our bags. People are just filling the bags for us. Just walk around.
There's like a scene from Godfather 2 where
probably
he walks around the market and he's just
we just walk around. Tony dresses in all white, you know what I mean? No shoes. He'll be walking around here with no shoes. Well, he wouldn't come to a city really, because it's hard to walk with no shoes. So he stays in places.
I like how instead of putting on shoes, he'll rather just avoid places where you can't walk around
if
barefoot.
you got to put on shoes, it's probably a place you should avoid. You know what I mean? So it's like that. And so Tony, it's kind of like a Spartan. So wherever we go, we just have our bags and boom, they're filling it. Boom, boom, boom. So that's how it was with Oswaldo in the area. Like everyone knew we're in this hardcore area. Everyone knew like, just leave these guys alone. They're cool. They're not.
Yeah.
We'd sleep with the doors open. Never. I remember the first night I was over there. Like, ain't you guys gonna lock the doors? Kind of a weird place. Like, no, man. If someone breaks in, if they have to actually break the door to get in, they'll probably kill us.
Yeah.
Like, if they come in, they just open the door and see us sleeping,
Probably leave you alone.
they'll probably leave us alone. So it's no big deal. I don't change the culture of anywhere I've traveled. So we're over there, and
Because Brazil was a pretty relatively dangerous place at the time that you were over
depends.
there.
Not for us. No way.
Well, it
We
sounds
watched people
like
get
not
robbed. Like we would. Well, I said we trained 10 hours a day, but not just jiu-jitsu. So we'd start at the beach. We all wake up at 6 in the morning. We walk to our point where we meet. It's about a 15-minute walk. And we do our physical training, what Carlson Gracie used to do, which was we'd run for 15 minutes on the beach nice and slow, and then we'd meet on the sand, and we'd do our sprints, 20 sprints. So we'd run out to the beach. But the first one, not so hard. Then we walk back. We run back to the beach, towards the water, and walk back. Once you get to like 5, you start going harder. And then we do that for 20. Once you get, like, when you're on 20, you're going full speed in the sand. So it's me, Galvão, Fredson, Jacare. There was a couple other guys. And then after that, then we carry each other on our backs. We tie a little white belt around us, so we look like little white belts. And there's a way you tie it, so when someone jumps on your back, you overhook their legs, and then the hand can grab the belt. And we start walking. Amri Batecha would go with us sometimes. He's a black belt from Carlson, started at 4 years old. And we walk for one post. It's like about a mile or something.
Wow.
And then we get to the end, but as we're walking, there's always tourists in Rio, like trying to take those nice, beautiful views of the whole. And every single day, you just see like tourists walking with their head down crying because they got their camera stolen. They thought if they were there at 6 in the morning, they wouldn't get robbed.
Yeah.
But like Rio is one of those places where it's like sacred grounds. You're going to see it with your eyes. If you're going to go there with your camera and have your head down with your iPhone, there wasn't even iPhones, but I can't even imagine.
Be gone.
It's something we wouldn't even do that. So like all the years I was in Rio, I never took pictures.
Yeah.
It's like sign of disrespect, like the way I train. Like you're at Oswaldo's training like that. It's like, and you're gonna say, "Hey, wait a minute, can I record this?" You just felt it wasn't the right thing to say. Like what we were learning was not meant to be recorded. The only person that recorded at that time was Paquetá. This was Carlson's best friend. And on the weekends, we'd hang out at his house.
Carlson Sr.?
Carlson Sr. His best friend's name is Paquetá. There's an island in Rio, and it's about like 40 minutes from Copacabana. And there's a little island where you're only allowed to ride bicycles on it. And so he's from there. And him and Carlson were best friends growing up. Paquetá was a big, like, bodybuilder, black belt from Carlson. And that's how we would study. We'd go to Paquetá's house, which was, you had where I would stay sometimes at Carlson's house, or I stayed at Oswaldo's gym. And then one block, like towards the beach, you had Oswaldo's house and Paquetá's house. So we all lived within like 2 minutes of each other. And Paquetá had all the videos. He had all of them. Like he even got sued by Carlson Gracie because he had every single person's highlights, everything. One of the guys who used to work for Paquetá, Cristiano Marcelo, he was the shootbox coach. Most recently, he'd worked for Paquetá, like helping him editing stuff. And then like he was a student of Carlson Gracie. He's like, "Hey, Hoyler, you know, he's got all your fights on film." And Hoyler tried to sue, and it was all disastrous. Really? Yeah, and so I used to have a T-shirt with Paquetá on it. And I had him like as a pirate, like a video pirate.
Yeah.
It's the coolest T-shirt everywhere. And it had Carlson Gracie, and it had like an X through it. And so, nothing against Hoyler. It was just a lot of drama. Back then, I'm telling you, there's no way. Like, look at Hickson. Like, how many videos do you see of him rolling? You'll see a couple blurry ones, but you just didn't feel appropriate to say, "Hey, Hickson, you mind if I tape you rolling?" You're going to get beat up doing something like that, especially in Brazil. Like, I want to see someone in the year 2000 go to Brazil and you see someone like Rickson Gracie rolling and you pull out your camera. Well, there wasn't even cameras back then. That's the cool thing. The first person to have a digital camera in Rio de Janeiro was Scotty from On the Mat. And so he'd always bring gadgets. Scotty was cool. Like, every time you go back to California, he'd come back with something cool. So he had one of those gas scooters. So that would be super dangerous to have in Rio. And we would just take it and go as fast as we could down the beach and just fly past everyone. And as soon as they could figure out what it was, we already had it like locked away. And then he had his digital camera. No one had ever seen that before. And so, boom, we're at Oswaldo's. And Oswaldo's, you learn one thing, which was a wrist lock. And we all know him. I probably learned a little more because I stayed longer. Then there was some political stuff and teams split away. But I ended up staying. I think I was there the longest. Then I'm like, wait a minute, all my friends are gone.
Where did they go? They went to, they formed TT? Or they went to TT?
So Andre Galvão was from Sao Paulo, and we were training in Rio. Oswaldo Alves is a team back then. I don't know how it is now, but it was comprised of maybe 80 schools in the Amazon.
Wow.
Oswaldo and Hazen Gracie. Hazen Gracie is one of Carlson's favorite brothers.
Yes.
Like when Carlson passed away right now, he's a little skinny guy. He was wearing a Greek T-shirt that says Parthenon on it, a blue shirt. He's a little skinny Gracie. And he used to have long hair, like down to his butt. He looks like a hippie. And he was like the most violent street fighter of them all.
Really?
Because people would pick on him. He's like 125 pounds, bleach blonde hair. And he was like the big street fighter of them all.
Really?
He's not going to back down. He's a little guy. And yes, some Gracies are better at chokes. Some are better at street fighting. And so...
Did you see a lot? You must have seen a lot of that when you were out in Brazil.
Fighting?
Yeah.
No, that's more Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, Hawaii.
More street fighting in Hawaii?
Oh, look at those guys. Like, you just Google Hawaiian street fights, see who comes up.
It's all over the place.
You know what I mean? So that's it's nothing new. That's been going on forever. Brazil's not even a place you street fight. It's one of those that, in South America...
You just get shot.
Yeah, you start street fighting with people. They're friends with some federal police, and next thing you know, like, you disappear.
But there was a lot of that, like Gracie challenges or...
Hawaii Gracie, he was a tough one. Like, if he showed up, if you're anywhere in Rio and Hawaii shows up, like, someone's going to get beat up. And that dude, I have respect for him. He's tough. You know what I mean? Like, he has a big heart. And you're trained to fight your whole life, and then they're telling you not to fight. So it's like, I don't know. So yeah, certain people, like if Hayen was around or Walid or Macaco, something's going down quick. And so a lot of these guys are like in separate parts of the universe now. So you don't really see that. But you still see Walid's fired up. He's got jungle fight. He's always trying to challenge Renzo since forever. Because usually, Walid would be talking and Hayen would accept right away.
Yeah.
And with health, I think he's over there somewhere. But yeah, so you got Hayen's not really around, so Walid has no one to mess with now. They don't have it was always like a family feud, because I look at everyone as this family. Anyone involved in jiu-jitsu's family, like whatever they want to say. Walid and Renzo they're basically family. If you're training around with someone and being around them more than 10 years, they're family. Like 8 years, I think. So you can say what they want. Everyone's building off each other. And so back to Hazen Gracie, him and Oswaldo went over there to the Amazon. And they started pushing jiu-jitsu over there. Because they're jungle people. They like the jungle stuff. Amazon jungle is cool.
Did you ever go out there?
No, but I trained with all the people from there.
Yeah.
So if you're a part of Oswaldo's association over there, eventually... if you were good enough, somehow someone would sponsor you, get a ticket to make it to our school.
Okay.
And so
your school was like the
top of the top of the top of the top, maybe top 5 guys of all of them. Galvão wasn't from the Amazon. He was from Sao Paulo. But his coach, Careca, which means bald guy, he lived in a small town in Sao Paulo where Andre's from. And then once Andre got good, he sent him right to Oswaldo's. And then Andre won the Worlds that year. I lost to Braulio Estima
Yeah.
in the 4th match. It's kind of a controversial thing. They didn't have cameras there, but there's a lot of stuff going down after BJ Penn had just won. Like, he was the first outsider to ever win.
You were there for that year? That was 2003, I believe.
No, that was 2000.
Was it 2000?
Yeah, and then I showed up. And then I was 2001, 2003, 2004. So with Braulio, I think it was like, I don't know what happened. But you know what it is? I don't like to talk about losses. Everything's a learning experience. And he's really good.
Yeah, Bradley was one of the greatest.
Yeah, so I remember when everyone started leaving Brazil, because one of the best guys at Gracie Barra, you'll never hear about him, name is Sal. He's like a multi-millionaire, owns some big company there, so he just does jiu-jitsu for fun. But this kid had the best guard of Gracie Barra at that point.
Really?
He was the brown belt over there is Roger, Sal. Roger was the best one there for pressure. Braulio would come from another school. He was from Gracie Barra, but from far away. And then
He was Recife.
So he'd come train with us, like right before the Worlds, and then they always like film me and him training. I'm like, oh man, this is. So we ended up getting to the Worlds. We're both training together, and we're both the same weight class. It was just too much. Someone had to lose. So that day, I may have lost the match, but I gained the popularity of the community because everyone's seen me there. The whole place is Tijuca Tennis Club. Like, oh man, he's not that bad. The kid, look what you guys did to him, and everything was cool. And so actually, that loss actually helped me with the people, because everyone feels bad for the guy that just got. They're like, hey man, like, better luck next time, but good job. Because at that point, at the purple belt level, I think those divisions were harder than the black belt levels. Because you could win the black belt winning 2 or 3 matches. By that time, purple belt, we have like 7, 8 matches. It was crazy. And so, at that point in time when I lost, Oswaldo had come up to me and Fred's. I'd known them for a couple of weeks. Remember, my ribs were hurt. And Andre Galvan, all them. And I seen like tears in their eyes. They're like, damn. And then they're like, what you going to do? I'm like, I can't train with these guys anymore. This is like too weird. I'm in the same weight class as their best guy.
You were training at ball, huh?
Yeah, because when Carlson Gracie team split up, I showed up to Brazil a few months later.
So it was like right in the midst of it.
It was like walk into a war zone. Like, it was just like...
What happened, just out of interest? Like, do you know...
Money. Money.
Usually is the way.
I think, people wanted more than acai. So, like, dealing with money with people is just like that. Basically it was bad management. That's the way I look at it. Conflict of interest. If you have the manager and the trainer being the same person.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at John Danner, I know he trains them, but I don't think he manages them.
No.
If he did, it might have a Carlson situation. So that's how it went with that. So I showed up there, and like the 4th day of class, like, hey, you're pretty good. You want to start helping teach? I was like, no, I don't. I'm not here to teach. I'm like, I'm sacrificing a lot right now. I'm like, I'm supposed to be in college. My mom's home alone. No way. I'm not teaching here. And I talked to Carlos. I'm like, look, what are we going to do? No disrespect, but I've been teaching a lot of classes before I got here. I know what I know already. And I don't need anyone to... I don't need my ego boosted being a teacher right now. I'm like 19, 20 years old. I'm like, I'm here to
train.
I'm here to train.
Yeah.
And he respected that. He's like, look, well, train anywhere but Brazilian top team. I was like, fair enough. And he never liked Oswaldo, really, because Carlson always had the best big team in Brazil, and Oswaldo always had the best little team. And so there's always a rivalry. Like, I look at like macro and micro. Carlson would be like a macro coach where he's not going to give you all the attention, like, for every detail. He's just going to tell you, like, porra, raspberry ape, put him down, And then, like, you're not going to be like, Carlson, how am I supposed to put him down? He's like, porra. You'd already be like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, he tell you put him down, he knows when you're supposed to do it. And you put him down, he's like, he's that type of coach. Oswaldo type of coach is going to, like, spend, like, thousands of hours on how to do that one move. So it's a whole different ballgame. So I think
which did you prefer of the two?
You have to know everything.
So you got to have the micro and the
both.
macro. Yeah.
You got to know them both. Like, of course, for Carlson to make things so simple, he had to have had them so complicated at one point.
Sure.
And then what made Oswaldo's team special was because everything was so simple everywhere, he went straight. It's kind of like gi and no gi. Like, what's better? Well, gi helps no gi and no gi helps gi. And the same thing with that training was the specific super training helps the simple training, and the simple training helps the detailed training. But the way Carlson was, he was running an army. He couldn't do that. Oswaldo was teaching like 4 or 5 guys at a time.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, he had Sergio Pena, who put up a good match against Hickson. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
And he had a few other guys, but none of them were really known for wrist locks. The wrist locks come from, well, who knows where they come from. Before Oswaldo, the school that was mastering the wrist locks was the school that Kimura came from, the guy that had beaten Rio Gracie from Japan with a Kimura. Now let's just imagine Elio would have defended his elbow joint. Kimura would have went for the wrist lock at that point, because on that Kimura, the elbow's dominated, which is the joint below the wrist. So that's why no one probably thought about doing wrist locks. They saw the Kimura and that was enough. And so instead of people doing Kimuras, and if they're defended, going to a wrist lock, what became popular was the guys defending the Kimura, they'll go for like an arm bar. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of movement. So with the wrist locks, we always trained those. It was like, I think every class we learned a wrist lock, at least one. And that was our go-to move.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Andre Galvao knows them, Jacare knows them. But I don't think they specialize in like I do. Like Andre pretty much became a specialist in wrestling. Like he's so good now. It's not that the jiu-jitsu is so much better than it ever was back then. Like he was already good back then. Like once you have your game, you have your game. Well, the difference now is the wrestling, and that's where the United States comes in.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that type of wrestling in Brazil. So a lot of these guys got a lot better when they came over, just for eating better and stuff. In Brazil, you're always eating like rice and beans and stuff. You get to the United States, you're eating food on hormones. You're just getting bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, you're a gorilla. That's a lot of the guys from Brazil. They're like malnutritioned over there.
Yeah,
they're just eating like bananas and cutting weight and running on the beach. Then you move somewhere like United States or Europe, wherever you start packing on weight. You'll see these guys now. Find pictures of them when they lived in Brazil. Like I look pretty much the same as I did when I was 20. But a lot of these guys look skinny. And now you see them with the food they're eating, whatever they're eating.
Yeah, whatever they're eating.
They're eating something, but I don't want it.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain rule that I have. If I eat something, I'm probably going to have to eat it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Or else my body's going to want to go shut down.
Sure.
And that's where you see these guys get sick, because they do it for a little bit. They're not in balls deep. It's like, I'll try it for this tournament. No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that probably shocks their body. As like if someone was to gain weight and lose weight and gain weight and lose weight, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
So whatever you're sticking to, just stick to it. And I like to see how my friends got so much better in Brazil, because when we lived in Brazil, the mentality was, oh, we're Brazilians, we're the best. But now when these guys moved to the United States or Europe or whatever, they pick up the culture wherever they were. You know what I mean? So they all became way better wrestlers. Now we're getting the leg locks. In Brazil, if you try to do a leg lock on someone, I lived there, they probably like, it's playing with your life right there.
Really?
Yeah, because like, no way. Like the mentality was, if you go for a leg lock on me, you have no technique. Like the only person who goes for legs is people that don't pass the guard. And so we never really did leg locks out there. None of us. I don't think... No, Toquinho wasn't even around back then. He was a product of the Brazilian top team. That was later.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, let me think who's the best leg locker in Brazil. There was like...
The Lucha Libre guys?
A little bit. Like Leitão. The dad, he knows a lot of leg locks, but I don't think he has any like. Yeah, like Milton Vieira maybe was over there doing some of that, but no way. You're not going to find any highlight reels of any Brazilians doing leg locks pre-2000. No way. And so that was frowned upon. And I think that's how Danaher would develop a lot of those leg locks, especially all the Russians coming through New York. Like, Russians in New York is kind of like, it's a border town. So you're not going to see, like, Russians rolling through California.
Yeah.
But in New York City, there's Russians, and they're going to come to your gym, and they're going to be named Sergey, and they're going to know how to leg lock. And you're only going to know them for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to know you, and you don't want to know them. But you're going to pick up a few leg locks. Because I've had a few Russians train with us, and one of them named Sergey. He's a badass MMA fighter. He's in Canada now. And I'm sure Danaher was able to see these guys. Because I've only met a few of these. I've met about 3 or 4 coming through my school in Chicago. But over there, he's seeing these guys. They're coming through.
It was Dean Lister, I think, who really kicked it off. He was doing a lot of what would be referred to as, I think you could, Danaher even credits him with kind of influencing his mentality when it came to leg locks, the whole why ignore 50% of the human body sort of thing.
Yeah, Dean's awesome.
Yeah.
So with Dean, I remember he came over, I think, what year was it? 2000. I don't know, whenever he won. When did he win the Abu Dhabi, do you think? What year was that? Absolute. It's like 2002 or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Anyways, he shows up to Brazil and goes to the Brazilian top team to train, and they ban him. They're like, hell no, you ain't coming here, dude. Like, I was tough, but I wasn't big like Dean.
Yeah.
Like, I never even tried. I went to top team twice, and I went with Scotty, and there was like almost a big brawl, so I never went back there.
Really?
Yeah, but Dean, it wasn't even my fault. But Dean, it was a long story. Like, one guy trained there that didn't like them, and he was just waiting.
He didn't like
the top teamers.
Yeah.
His name was Navaliata. He was one of the best guys from the Amazon too. He was like one of the last guys to leave Carlson. Waleed had recruited him. He's 23 years old. No, younger than that. But he's like 23-0 MMA. He was the best. Like, he was like, Carlson didn't even care about any other guys leaving because he had Navaliata. He's like, you guys can all leave. This guy will beat the shit out of you guys.
Damn.
And he just stand out there on the corner waiting for them to beat him up. And he introduced everyone as his brother. So he'd stand there on the corner after training and just look for top teamers. It was crazy. But he ended up having to join them because the whole team left. And I walk in there with Scotty. A lot of Americans that went there are outsiders. They were expected to spend a lot of money. So we go in there, and right away, Pão Pina, he's an American top team coach. He's like, hey, you guys got to buy this. You got to buy that. I'm like, hey, dude, chill out, you know? I'm like, the guy that taught you jiu-jitsu is Amri Batesh. I train with him every day at Oswaldo's. You know, I'm not buying shit. Like, I'm here just to watch my friend's back.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't have a car, and I just went for the ride. I'm bored. So right away, Navaliata sees me. I haven't seen him in months. He sees me, and he's like, he stops the training. Minotaro's cool. He joined them after. Minotauro went to go train with him as a brown belt at Carlson. They kicked him out. They're like, go back to De La Riva, dude, right before the Worlds.
Really?
They were so businesslike. When it came to the contract, they brought him right back. So, like, Minotauro, Carlson always liked him.
Yeah.
And I'm not here. I'm just telling history. I know a lot of history. So we're over there, and Navaliata sees me. I walk in there, and right away I see him. Like, oh, shit. I'm like, what's he doing here? I'm like, something's about to go down. And top team was crazy. He was in the middle of the Banco de Brazil. Bank of Brazil had a country club in Rio. It's called AABB, something like that. Association of something of Banco de Brazil. And they had their setup inside of a country club. It was crazy.
The gym was in a country club?
Yeah, the Brazilian top team was in a country club. So you walk in, there's all fancy people everywhere, and you go to the back. Because Laborio, before he moved to American top team, he was like vice president of a bank of Banco de Brazil. He had a regular job. That's why when you see him, he explains stuff well. The dude's like, he's legit. Like, he's working at a bank as a vice president and kicking ass.
Wow.
And so he had set that up. He must have somehow, just maybe a phone call. Who knows? Brazil's like that. You know, you think you're in danger, and then
phone call
boom.
get you a long way.
It just takes one little handshake by somebody or something, and the whole thing's changed.
Wow.
So we go in there and Navaliata sees me and he's like, ha, 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 ha. He's like, I'm here with my only other Carlson Gracie brother, Pete. And he grabs me in the front and he's just like, yeah, what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? Fuck. I challenge any one of you guys. Maybe the guy could have beat him, Minotauro. Minotauro was there for business.
Yeah.
And then he was looking at all of them. And I was just like...
So wait. So the other guy was there to train.
He was there because he had to go. There's nowhere you can go in Rio if you were a professional fighter trained by Brazilian top team. Think about it. Where are you going to go? Shootbox. But Navaliata had already challenged shootbox.
Yeah.
Like, he had beat, what was it, Ninja or Show? He beat Ninja, and then he's right in shootbox. That's Curitiba. That's a different part of Brazil. That's straight shootbox hood. Like, you walk around there, you're not seeing any jiu-jitsu shirts.
Yeah.
You're seeing all shootbox. It's Vanderlei Silva's home. They hated, like, top team.
So he went there to train, but then as soon as he saw you, he thought...
No, he was already there training. Like, they were scared already. He had just joined them. He's already, like, killing all of them. His goal was to go there and beat the shit out of everyone and bring him back to Carlson. Shit. And that was happening.
Fuck.
Because he was the youngest of all of them. These other guys, like Bustamante, they're already, like, 30-something. Like, they didn't want no part of this kid. Navaliata means razor blade. He'd drive around in a Harley, a lowrider. He's in, like, a biker thing, Hell's Angels. He'd ride around there, and so... He'd go over there and say, boom. He's like, I'm here with my only other brother. And we were there standing. I was ready to fight them all. I didn't know what was going to happen. No one tried to fight. He's like, and I'm going to get more brothers. And we're all going back home. And he said that, and boom. 2 weeks later, goes to jail.
Shit.
Like drug charges or something. Who knows? Brazil's like that. You know, you get someone mad.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, it's just like that. You know, you get someone mad and that's it.
He just upset someone at BTT, so next thing you know...
someone, the whole thing, he went there to take it back.
Yeah.
He went there, like, how many people joined BTT to bring the team back to Carlson? Only one person, him. And he went over there, and then next thing you know, like, he got busted with, like, 30,000 ecstasy pills. You're like, oh, top team, ecstasy pills? Nah. So you could just, like, you know, and so he goes to jail. And that was it. That was the end of Navaliata. He came out of prison or something, never could really fight again. Brazilian jails have, like, dirt floors and stuff. I don't care how tough you are. It's going to break you emotionally. And so, I don't know what ever happened to him. Shit. But that's that, you know. Boom. So I'm over there at top, and I'm like, man, screw these guys. I like training with Oswaldo. I'm like, get me out of here, Scotty. What the fuck? Beam me out, Scotty. You get me killed out here. Because wherever Scotty went, he's got blonde hair, blue eyes. He's got a bunch of Americans around him ready to spend, like, each American with Scotty's got at least $1,000 to spend that week.
Yeah. Why?
Because they're in Brazil for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure.
They're bringing, like, in 2 weeks.
They're on holiday. You're living there.
$3,000. So, like, I don't like being, that's why I really never hung out with, like, too many Americans there, because they were there for different goals.
Sure.
They were there to, like, tell everyone they're training, but you know what they were doing. They're having fun.
Yeah. I
had fun too. I had more fun than anyone. Actually, Scotty's so cool. I'd stay at his house on the weekends. Because back to my story about that crazy building we lived in Oswaldo's. In the building of Oswaldo's, they would lock it on the weekend. So we didn't train on the weekends. On Friday night, the door's locked. I remember one time I stayed in there like twice. And then, not the inside door I was talking about. I'm talking about the condominium, the kind of like you have like the outside door. You can be in the building going around, but to leave the building, you can't.
Yeah. From
Friday night until Monday morning.
Every week.
Every week. And so we all had little things we'd do on the weekends. Mine was go to Scotty's house in Baja. But Oswaldo was smart. He never, you see, on Saturdays, guess what he'd make us do so we wouldn't go out and party? Because when you're training like that, on the weekend, you might just go nuts. Yeah. You're like, ah! So we'd have to meet on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. at the beach. And we never know if he's going to be there or not. If he was there, we got to do our run for 45 minutes at 7 a.m., which isn't much, but the timing is just... And then if we show up there, we have to show up no matter what.
Yeah.
If we show up there at 7 a.m. and he's not there, he's not going to tell us. It means we're free. And I just get on the bus and go to Scotty's. Scotty's like, oh, he had the internet and stuff. Like, I was like, whoa, I'm going to this. And Scotty's house is always cool because he always have new visitors. He had like it was like an Airbnb for jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
Back then. And then right away, of course, people don't want to stick to their word. I was dealing with that the other day. And the guys would come and they would never want to go home. And then they wouldn't want to pay either because we let them into our lifestyle. Our lifestyle was so cool. And so like we're hanging out, we're showing them good times and stuff. And after like 2 or 3 weeks, they start crying. They're like, we can't go home. We're like, why? They're like, we're married. Like, we won't. And we're like, dude, well, whatever you are, you got to pay, dog. You've been here for 3 weeks. We've treated you nice. We understand our lifestyle is way cooler than yours. But man, agree to, pay to what you agreed upon, which wasn't much. It was like $15 a day.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how much do you pay, Pete? And I'm like, I pay $100. And so sometimes I'd have to, that's why you hear people talking shit about me sometimes, probably because I had to throw him out of Scotty's house. Because Scotty was too nice. He's like, Pete, you got any money? I'm like, of course not. He's like, come over. He's like, I'll give you half of what they owe me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be meaner. I'd just tell him, like, hey. And then, of course, I'd have a lot of fun in Brazil, too, because Brazil's one of those places where you're not going to go out on your own. You show up to Rio, and boom, you want to go out. You want to see the things everyone's talking about at nighttime. But who are you going to go with? What are you going to do? Call. And they're like, well, Pete will go with you. And I'm like, yeah, I have one condition. You have to pay for everything. Like, for every 2 that you get, I get 1 of anything.
Okay.
And, like, if you stick to that rule, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So if you want 2 beers, I get 1 for me.
Yeah.
If you want 2 bananas, I get 1 for me. You stick to that, you're going to have the time of your life because I have no money whatsoever over here. I'm here to train. And then we just go out, and so it was like every weekend I lived as if I was a tourist.
Sure.
So cool.
Because you were basically like a tour guide.
I was a chaperone, yeah. Not that I could beat everyone up, but I was familiar with the area. And Brazil is a place where if you're not familiar, things can get wild.
Sure.
And with Carlson and all them, everyone liked me. So, like, shooting our whole little family of jiu-jitsu, like, you have everyone. You have doctors. Like, that's why I feel bad, like, when Carlson had to move to Chicago. Because Chicago is not going to be like that. Like, you could know a doctor, but he's not going to operate on you. He's not, you're going to have insurance. But in Brazil, it's different. You're just like, and it's crazy because in the little town of Rio de Janeiro, you have so many, like, world-class people and so many things. You're like, oh, meet my friend. He's the best surfer in the world, but he's also the best plastic surgeon in the world. You're like, wait a minute. How can he be the best at being a plastic surgeon? And you see that their lifestyle is just so cool that you're meeting world-class people. So he have, like, world-class doctors, never need an appointment or anything.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much, that's why I really don't care what anything people do to me because I saw my coach take it hard. Like, if someone, like, took a low blow at him, he couldn't sleep, it would, like, drive him crazy. And I told myself, like...
Who is that, Oswaldo?
All of them. Carlson, too. Oh, Oswaldo's more intense than Carlson. He's intense, dude.
Really?
Like, with my little wristlock video, if I show up there, I might get sniped.
Really?
But most of them are my own wristlocks.
So this is the video that you've done. You've done a video with BJJ Fanatics?
BJJ Fanatics,
it's
yes.
Out now?
Not yet.
Okay, it's coming up soon.
Shout out to those guys, man. Because I was like, dude, someone else is going to come out with a wristlock soon video. It's going to be fake. They're just going to, like, steal all mine and call them their own. So we got to come out with one. We just made that one. And guys, buy that video. Come on. BJJ Fanatics.
And you think Oswaldo's not going to be happy with that?
No way.
Really?
Well, maybe now, I don't know, but no way. In the old days, oh no. If I made that video, I ain't coming back.
Really?
Things are different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like,
you still in contact with him?
Like, a lot of my friends aren't phone people. Like, most of my friends, they just call me at the airport when you land. You know where we're at. Like, that's a relationship I have with BJ Penn. That's a relationship I have with my friend in Brazil, Cassio Cardozo. He's one of the best he's the one that taught Murilo Bustamante. So it's like, I didn't have to join Top Team because...
You were getting it from the source.
I just go to Cassio's house and he'd be like, here's how you beat them. It was pretty cool.
Was there a big rivalry in the jiu-jitsu competitions between BTT and Carlson's?
Nah, because the BTT was formed from mixed martial
MMA
arts.
guys, sure.
It was BTT was formed. Like I said, like when Minotauro came to Carlson's as a brown belt, he was from another state as well. I'm not sure exactly. No, he's from, he's a Baiano. He's from Bahia. That's where Capoeira's from. So he came over to Carlson as a brown belt. I forgot who he had his match with. Might have been with Holeta. Yeah, it was Minotauro versus Holeta. Holeta is the guy that taught Sal.
Yeah.
Sal's the first person who came over here besides Roger Gracie's dad. He came over, he's like, Sal used to teach me privates.
Sal came over to the UK?
Came over to the UK, made good money, like good money. I'm talking about like he came back to Brazil, like, holy shit.
Do you know when that was?
It'd be like 2001.
Okay.
Sal came over and just killed it. And then boom, Lagarto is my good friend.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, me and Lagarto always trained together. And then everyone just started coming over here. And then Braulio had just beaten me in the Worlds. And then boom, like when it comes to those guys, when they win it at the purple belt level, they're already like they're black belts in like a year.
Sure.
And they win it at the black belt level and then boom, move off. It was basically forming it was like popcorn. The seed just going boom, 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 boom. So I was like, damn, everyone left Brazil. This sucks. Like even my rivals, like even if I was competing, like what am I going to do here? Like sometimes in these countries, like you just wake up one day and you're like, I can't live here anymore.
How long were you in Brazil for?
I don't even know. I don't even believe in time. I believe in memories. You know, like I would say like back and forth for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
How long? Wow.
Yeah, so we're over there. I got there in 2000. And I always go back even injured. I go train with Ted today. Galvão was my friend. I'm probably like the only person besides Calazans. Because Calazans comes in one of our friends near Galvão's. He's a student of Oswaldo's too. He'd train with us, but he's probably the only other person that trained with Andre through every belt level.
Terror?
Calazans.
Oh, Calazans, yeah.
His dad does judo and stuff. They got a big school over there, and he's in Abu Dhabi, so he's really good, and he knows wrist locks. He's one of our good friends. And so, yeah, you got Oswaldo, you got Fredson was the best of all of us at that point. He was good as Jacare, like he was like mini. Like Jacare was Fredson's protege. So Jacare was a big Fredson. But now moving into the States is a different thing. A lot of people moved and became wrestlers. A lot of them just moved over and like, hey, we like live in the United States now. We're going to relax. Like Fredson didn't live with us at the gym. He lived with Oswaldo. So anything as tense as we had, he had more. So he had to be with. We're with Oswaldo all day. There was no way, dude. Like
no rest for him.
Like example, like if you just try to show up at nighttime and train and be all rested, like one of us would hurt you. You're getting hurt. Like you have to do the full training because it wasn't just like that training in the morning wasn't really so much just for like to get stronger or faster. It was more mental. It's like the Navy SEALs, like they're in Afghanistan and stuff. Like you don't see them swimming through the desert, but that type of training like breaks you. We're all broken. Like if you looked at all of us, we look like zombies. And like the only thing we would do for a tournament was just rest. Like the secret weapon was rest. It wasn't like start a training camp. We'd have to tone things down. We were getting ready to fight because we walked around like human zombies. And I remember one time I told Oswaldo, like Oswaldo, you know, we got a tournament coming up tomorrow. Like I'm going nuts. I can't just sit here and drink coffee. We drink like 6 cups of coffee a day. And because the coffee over there is good. It tastes like chocolate milk. Like I'm gonna go train at the I'm gonna go to the mall, shopping malls right down the street. I like maybe see some girls walking around or something, just to get my head off the fight. And he looks at me, he's like, champions don't go to the mall. And they looked at me and was like, phew. And I was just like, you're right. I was just saying, I'm like, don't worry about it, guys. I don't want to go to the mall. That's ridiculous. And they're like, so it was super intense.
Yeah, that's a crazy environment to be a part of.
Yeah, so
but that's like, what you wanted.
Yeah, of course. It was our dream. That's what we all wanted. We were all training at places like warming up, running in circles, and scaping our hips. You know what I mean? We're like, no way. Like we all wanted, like we call him Miyagi. Like I still have the key to the gym. My glasses are still there. Like Oswaldo taped them up so they don't get scratched. You know, like they're there right now. Like everything's there. You'll see, you know, Vitor trained there.
Belfort.
Like basically all the best guys from Carlson's would go to Oswaldo's too, here and there. Paul Lau, he was super tough. Paulo Filho, they call him.
Yeah, he was a beast.
Yeah, he was Laborio left at the end because he got the offer from ATT. They're going to pay him like $5,000 a month or something.
He's doing incredibly well now.
Yeah, and so Laborio left, but these guys stuck around. It was the last three was like Laborio, Paulão, Navallada. And they used to fight in Carlson's event called Heroes, not Laborio, but like Paulão, Navallada.
MMA or grappling?
MMA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, grappling was for kids. Like jiu-jitsu is for kids with them. Like Carlson, like how do you know if you're good for MMA? He wouldn't try to hurt you. Like Carlson never really tried to hurt anyone. He always see him good, but he always had big guys around him. Like the bigger you were, the more Carlson liked you. Why? Because he's older. I get it now. Imagine I'm like 60 or 70.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna have no little guys around me.
He needs some forces, right?
You need people that like, and these people, man, they look like killers, and they'll do anything for him. And just big people. He liked it. So we're over there, and then right when I got there, Paulo Filho had left. He was Navallada's main training partner. So if you look at like Paulo Filho in his prime, that's what this kid was. But no one ever heard of him because he stuck. Jiu-jitsu is super political, like anything else. It's like a religion. Jiu-jitsu is like it's pretty much a body language. And once you have federations and associations and complications, there's a lot of limitations. And so, you know what I mean? Like, that's what Taekwondo and all that stuff. Once there's like a federation, that means you got to pay some guy to tell you how good you are. Or I don't know what they are, but there's a lot of things. I don't know the difference. But I know it comes down to if someone doesn't like you,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's just like I'm going to Greece, for example. And I had some seminars set up, and they're like, wait a minute, you can't do these here anymore. I'm like, I'm Pete the Greek. And that's probably why, because like when I do a seminar over here, they're not thinking I'm going to move here or anything. But maybe over there, they think I'm coming home. So they try to put blocks on me.
Really?
Yeah, so if any of you guys are in Greece, come on, man. What the fuck? 300. Like, you have one, there's 299 left of you. I got like my friend Mike Zambitis. I got Danny over there. There's a few, and there's one tough guy over there in Greece. They call him the Last Emperor, Johnny. So there's still a few. But it's like, with jiu-jitsu, by being in Brazil at its prime, I've seen all the politics at its height. Yeah. So any type of politics that show up or any type of speed bumps that come on me, like I'm like, yeah, okay. Higan Machado told me that. He's like, Pete, like it's just like a block. Someone's putting a frame at you. Like, are you going to get all mad? No, you just get around it or wrist lock it or whatever you want. But there's always going to be speed bumps in the road, and it's your job to get it. There's always a block, right? You get somewhere and it's blocked off. What do? You're going to sit there and complain and cry? No, you're going to find another way around it. So that's how I approach my life. And with the wrist locks, you got Oswaldo, who was the Gracie's judo coach. Okay? So Oswaldo wasn't even known in Brazil for being jiu-jitsu. He never competed in jiu-jitsu. He never had one match in jiu-jitsu. But what he was he was a Gracie family's judo coach. And they had another one too, George McGee. I remember he was challenging Carlson, and Carlson likes to play on the feet, he grabs a cross collar. And supposedly, well, I believe it, and he went to McGee's school because McGee was a top judo guy, and he choked the guy out on his feet. Carlson grabbed his neck, and the guy... But one thing that made Carlson super happy, he'd always talk about and stuff, was Holz Gracie. And that made Oswaldo super happy too. Because all that training we did on the beach, that's what Holz, when he trained with Oswaldo, he did all that. That was the Holz Gracie training. That training usually broke most people mentally. So then Carlson would teach Holz Gracie. See, Holz was the best student of Gracie Academy from Elio and those guys. Holz was the best. But it was very traditional. And he's already a black belt. And they told him, like, hey, if you want to get way better, you got to train with your brother Carlson. So Holes moved over to Carlson's. And Carlson's like, you got to make some money. So Carlson's so cool, he let him teach at his school. And so that's where like Gracie Baja was formed. Alliance. I forgot which day of the week it was. It was something like Carlson would teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Holes would teach like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
So there's like an interesting history between, there's like a split in the Gracie family, right?
Yeah, the one is basically, they look different. Some look like bulldogs and the other ones look like hawks.
Yeah, it's
They're
true.
Two different types of animals.
It is true. And so it's the Carlson
And then you
Gracie
got the
side.
hybrids.
Yeah.
Like Hickson. That dude just looks like a beast. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, when I grew up, I want to look like him.
Yeah.
I would watch Choke and be like,
Yeah.
I want to look like that Gracie. You know, because that Gracie.
He was really an outlier in the Gracie family, wasn't he? He looked very different to the rest
Yeah,
of them.
so he looked like an athlete, you
Yeah.
know? A lot of the Gracies just look like regular people. But when you look at Hickson Gracie and Choke, like you could show that video to people and be like, this is what I do.
Yeah, he looked
And
very
they'd be
athletic,
like,
yeah.
damn, Pete, like, we love you. You know, but if I show him some stupid, like, tournament, just be like, what the hell are you doing? So I always watch Choke. That was just like,
Yeah.
and I start doing all those movements. They call it gymnastica natural, but it's actually yoga. Well, actually, they call it Kempo.
Kempa.
Kempo is a martial art from the jungle, which is study of animal movements. It's not Kempo like Kempo. It's a different Kempo. And that's where the guy Orlando Cani, he's the one that taught the Gracies the movements. But then later, one of his students, I just saw him at Studio 540. Shout out to Robert Zepps. It was his birthday yesterday. That guy's so cool. He's from out here too. Robert Zepps. Have you heard of him?
From the UK?
Yeah, he's from the UK. But he owns an awesome gym in San Diego called Studio 540.
I know of the gym.
Yeah, and so he's from over here.
Really?
And he's a businessman. He's going around New York. Everybody's so cool. Whenever I'm in San Diego, when me and Glover call up Zepps, like, Zepps, what's up? He's like, come over, boys. And, like, he just hooks us up with something. Like, we don't even ask. Like, Zepps have the capability to give us a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
And he also has the ability just to, like, whatever, let us hang out.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know. He's kind of like a mini Sheik of San Diego. So he's really cool with all the jiu-jitsu people. And one of my best friends, Joel Tudor, trains over there. Joel's like the best longboard surfer. Like if you see like pictures of Jesus walking on the ocean, he might have been a longboard surfer like Joel, because Joel stands on the tip.
Yeah.
If you go to any van store or wherever they sell vans, they're gonna have a poster of a surfer.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Joel. And as Joel over there, he just won in Fight to Win and tapped someone out. And he's super cool. So he's like a Carlson brother of me.
Yeah.
And I remember I never even met him before, and I just showed up there, and it was like, boom, we're already friends.
Awesome.
And with the wrist locks, boom, start learning them, boom, boom. Then I went over to Hawaii. Well, at that point, everyone came to the United States. I'm like, I'm not going back to Chicago. This sucks. Like I just been in Rio all this time.
So this is when you kind of woke. You said you woke up one day and you.
I was like, man, I can't be here anymore.
Because
So it's
everyone
like-
had already left.
It's like rice and beans, and it was the same thing. I'm an outsider everywhere I go. My friends are all moving. Like people are just splitting off. Sal just made all his money in the UK. They might have just topped it off right there. Like Sal came back with a wad of cash. It's like $30,000 in a month in the UK.
Wow.
Just teaching privates. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. Everyone's like, dude, we love Rio, but it's time to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And they all just start leaving. And, you know, some came to Europe. Most of them went to California or New York. And then
You went to Hawaii.
went to Hawaii. BJ Penn, like, he knew Scotty because BJ Penn come from Half Gracie. I learned from Carlson's son, Junior Gracie. They kind of look alike. They fought in Battlecade when Mr. T was the commentator.
Who's that?
Carlson Gracie Jr. had fought John Lewis in Battlecade Extreme Fighting. So that's the match where John Lewis was holding on the cage the whole time,
Yeah.
and Junior's trying to pull him down. Then they made the rule no more holding on the cage. And then Half Gracie had choked out the Japanese guy. And so BJ Penn was like he was like one of my heroes because he had went to Brazil before. And I remember I called him up. I was living in Cincinnati, Ohio. They see back then he had like a website on there and it had his personal phone number. And I remember I called it up. Like, you BJ Penn? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm Pete the Greek. I'm like, where the hell do I train at out there? Because he had went there and there's one from Novo União. He was from Gracie Baja.
Yeah.
But he showed up to Gracie Baja and he trained with a few guys the first day. And then the second day he got there, no one would train with him anymore. They just put him in Trent Wipeout. He's like, and then he had knew some people and they brought him over to Novo União. Novo União was a hot team at that point as far as like hungry fighters. You had Shaolin and Robson Moura. BJ Penn goes to Novo União. A lot of these schools in Brazil have these staircases walking up. So it's kind of like scary. Like you're walking up these stairs. It's like, what the hell is going to happen to me? You know, I know nobody here. And he goes there, boom, he triangles Robson Moura day one. Boom. And they're like, oh, that was lucky. Like, that shit ain't never going to happen. He's purple belt.
BJ Penn was?
Yeah, and then, boom, he triangles him again the next day. And then, like, they loved him. Then BJ Penn became, like, a fan of them. And he had won the Brazilian team championships. I remember I called him up. He's like, dude, if you're going to go to Brazil, you got to train at Novo União or Alliance.
He said that to you?
Yeah, he's like, because I'm like, Carlson team split. I have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
He was that smart. He's like, for jiu-jitsu, go those two. I'm thinking, man, I want to go those two. I'm just going to be like another one of everyone else. Am I going to show up there and have like 5,000 people? I'm just be another gringo. So luckily, I spent the time with Oswaldo, and I go to BJ Penn's, and he beat Matt Hughes. So things were crazy. It was so fun. Like, can you imagine, like, driving around his truck? Then he got a Hummer, the only Hummer in Hawaii. And
he must have been a superstar there.
oh my God, it was a fun. We just cruised. Like, what are we doing today? We're cruising. Just go around, like, throw up. Like, there's a lot of different alohas. You got, like, BJ Penn does, like, the phone aloha. Like, it's like, like two phones on it.
Uh-huh.
Then you got ones that are, like, it's like a pipeline, like a little.
Do they mean different things?
Yeah, like, this looks like a wave, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
So there's all different ones. And so you got to pay attention to Hawaiians. They got all types of little things in.
Because this whole, the shaka.
I'm not even sure what it means.
But that all comes from the surf culture.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu culture is from
like
surf
this.
culture.
Yeah, and the Hawaiians like to fight. Like, they're used to fighting Brazilians. Like, Hawaiians been fighting Brazilians since forever. Because Brazilians go to Hawaii, and it's very disrespectful. Like, take one of their waves.
Yeah, they go to Hawaii to surf.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, in Brazil, like, you're very aggressive with things. So, like, right away, Hawaiians want to fight. If you take one of their waves, they're fighting you.
Yeah.
Like, they're known for that. And, like, I didn't believe that till I was there. And I remember now people know it's like that. I never said anything before. But, man, if you want to become a good street fighter,
go to Hawaii.
Go to Hawaii because
Take someone's
it's
wave.
respected.
Yeah.
You can knock the guy's teeth out. He's going to be your homie. They're going to be hanging out the next day. It's not a big deal. It's like, it's part of the culture. New Zealanders look like it might be something like that over there too. It has to go back with like tribal, and it's so cool. So I was like, in Chicago, people fight till like 13, 14, then it gets too stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, man, BJ Penn gets to practice fighting like on the weekends if he wants, like, because someone's in it is like, you have these big Samoans, they're so big, like, you can slap someone and knock them out. Like,
yeah,
they know how to street fight. They're not only throwing fists, they throw like, they got all that Kempo stuff, palm strikes, because if you throw fists, you're going to break your hands in a fight.
Sure.
They don't want their hands broke. So we see all that, and I'm at BJ Penn's, I'm on top of the world. I'm like, Brazil, what's Brazil? I'm like, BJ Penn was smart. He'd bring over Randy Couture. Like, he's like how Galvão was to jiu-jitsu. That's how BJ Penn was. He learned how to wrestle. BJ Penn learned the wrestling defense. Yeah. He got so good at wrestling to the point where his Team Quest guys could not take him down. He just give them their leg on a single leg. Boom, because he had Tony D'Souza, who's best friend ever of mine. He's my number one best friend for sure. Besides, like, well, I have rankings in best friends.
Okay.
Like, your best friend number one should be like yourself.
Yeah.
Like, best friend number two be like God, whoever you believe in, right?
Yeah.
Best friend number three gotta be your jiu-jitsu master.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. Well, you could do like three as like mom, or like those three can change.
Yeah.
But in your top five gotta be your jiu-jitsu master.
Yeah.
If you're denying those facts, you're a piece of shit. Like, I guarantee you, in Hodger's top 5 best friends, his teachers in that. You take any of these people, you know, they may have to say it out loud, but man, your top 5 best friend got to be your jiu-jitsu master. You ask Glover, like, I guarantee you his top 5, I'm his number 3, but I guarantee you top 5 is going to be Frangina. You know, if not, there's like a split in the force. Like, how far are you going to get? Like, imagine you ask like Gary Tonin. I guarantee you, ask Gordon Ryan, top 5 friends of John Danaher's in it. It's going to be top, probably number 1. So yeah, guys, don't deny who you learn from, because you see that not so much in like the top pros, but you see like an amateur fighter win a couple matches, not even like tag his coach, not even say anything, just like pretend like he didn't exist. But you see like world class, those guys have respect. Like you see Gary Tonin or any of them, like they're gonna tell you like I heard a story that Gordon Ryan, he's selling all these videos with BJ Fanatics. First thing he said was he'll give 100% of the money to John Danaher, no problem. And they're like, no, you don't have to do that. But he's like, he's willing to do that. Just like if I get ripped off in a seminar or whatever, like I'm here trying to wrist lock the world, not wrist lock a town, wrist lock a country. And I imagine like I'm gonna be going to some places. I may even going to South Africa. You know what I mean? Like the goal all the time is now to have money. The goal right now is to wrist lock the whole freaking world, every country.
So that's the goal, is to spread the wrist locking movement.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can do right now because I got a bad back and stuff like that. So I know a bunch of other moves. But wrist locks are good because there's such little movements, a small little joint. So it's just like boom, boom.
Small output.
Yeah, small output. If you look at my videos, like you want to grab an arm bar, you're going to have to go. You have to circle the whole head. You have to do all this stuff and throw your leg over. The guy could bite you. It's a lot of movement involved. Kimura and wrist locks work together great. Like go for the Kimura, defends, go for the wrist lock. Kimura, I think, is way more dangerous than a heel hook.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather start in a heel hook than start in a Kimura.
Yeah.
Just because like I can slide out of a heel hook, I can sweat out of a heel hook.
Yeah.
You have the whole thing extended on a Kimura. It's going. It's a horrible injury. So lighten up, guys, on these federations. You know what I mean? Like,
you think the heel hook should be in IBJJF?
Not for the gi.
No, there's too much friction.
Yeah, with the gi is dangerous. With like, if someone goes for a heel hook on me with a gi on, I'll probably punch him in the face, like BJ Penn did in the Pan Ams.
Did he do that?
Well, the guy went for a toe hold. Like that's the way we were taught. If you come from like Half Gracie or Carlson, like the guy goes for your leg, you punch him in the face.
But toe hold was legal at the time, right?
Yeah, so BJ punched him right in the face of the Pan Ams.
Did he get disqualified?
Yeah, it was a big fight, ran out and everything.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was like 2001. I was there. I got 3rd place that year. I'd lost to, I remember I just swept him, and then he'll remember this. If you tell him I'm the guy, he'll remember.
Who's this?
He's the leader of Unity Jiu Jitsu. He's got the deep, he's like, Unity Jiu Jitsu. He's really good. Not Meow, but
Murillo Santana?
Murillo Santana.
Yeah.
So it was like, I remember I'd swept him. Boom, I was up 2-0. And I remember when I swept him, like, I never swept anyone to my weak side before in that move. I'm like, holy cow, I'm gonna get this guy.
Yeah.
Boom, I come up on top, go knee on the belly, pass the guard, and then quick transition omoplata. So I stand up in omoplata, and I start pulling his butt up. And I'm like, I'm lifting it up. I kind of felt, I looked at my coach, I looked at Junior, he's like, no. He's like, push it down. So I start pushing down the ankle instead of pulling up. I started pushing down, and my elbow got trapped. I was like, ah! And then he actually finished me from the omoplata because he was able to take his top foot and hook it under my leg. And so he'll always remember me for that because it was like the first time that submission was ever caught, and he caught me on it. I was like, and it was the first time Junior gave me like a wrong answer. And normally I look to him, like I'm in a situation, I look at him, he's just like putting that boom. He gave me gold. This one I got screwed up, and I realized, hey, that happens. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Well, like a coach can only give their best advice, but it's not, you know.
Because I was pulling up, and I look at him, he's like, no. He's like, push down. There's 2 ways to get out, right? You pull up, push down, or you could roll. But I'm not much of a roller. I don't like jumping over. I'm not a cartwheeler. So someone would applaud me. I'm standing up. Oh, I'm lifting their butt in the air like doo doo doo. Nowadays they're going to transition right to a leg lock right there.
Yeah.
And then boom, I have to like hide my knee line. I have to spin out. But back then people weren't even doing that. And plus it was with the gi. So yeah, shout out to Murillo Santana. Thanks for finishing me with that. But he couldn't believe he finished it either.
Yeah.
He felt me lift him. Then he boom. I remember he's like, I saw him like 10 years later at the Worlds, or like 5. I don't know when it was. And I was like, hey, remember me? He's like, I was just telling him about that submission. He's like, I never hit that again. It was the only time he ever did that. And so, yeah, I'm glad to see he's doing well because I was kind of bummed out. I'm like, man, it's the loss of some dude. And now they're like saying this guy is like very, very
beast,
good.
yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, you know. So I only lost to a few people. I lost to Romulo Bajal. I lost to Braulio, and I lost to they're all bigger than me too. But Murillo was my size. I lost to him.
I think he's a world champion as well.
Yeah, so those are the only guys I lost to, and yeah, most of the time I won.
And in sounds like it's raining.
Uh-oh.
I think I left the window.
One thing I gotta add. One thing I gotta add is one thing I hate is when people talk shit about their loss. So don't think I'm talking shit. I'm just giving you a history lesson.
Yeah.
I got finished by some omoplata. That was probably the first time ever to get finished in, so not a big deal.
That was a purple belt?
Purple belt is that the Pan Ams used to be all over the place. In '99 they're in Miami. That was so cool. And then they started moving them over to Florida. I remember we used to weigh in the day of. That's where I met most of my friends. Like most of my friends in jiu-jitsu were made in the Pan Am weigh-ins.
Really?
Yeah, because we'd weigh in outside the day of, and there would be lines and lines and lines. It was the day before, actually. Lines, hundreds and hundreds of people. It was a mess. Can you imagine how crazy it was? We went out there 7-8 hours, and you just make friends with people. Like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. You hold my line. So all of a sudden, like in these lines, you'd meet the best people from Henzo's. You'd meet. That's where I met like Joe D'Arcy. The Darce is actually a real person. So all these guys would be friends, and there wasn't that many tournaments, so we'd always see each other at the Pan Ams. And you have, all those people. Everyone, the whole scene, BJ, the whole scene was there at these Pan Ams, 99, 2000, 2001, and everyone was in the same boat. We were just wanting to get through the damn line. We're like, fuck, dude, like, we've been waiting out here for 7 hours. And then you go in there and like maybe you didn't make the weight and you have to go out and run around. And so, yeah, a lot of our friendships that I have till this day are from like freaking Blue Belt Pan Am games back in Kissimmee, Florida. And then after BJ Penn, Hawaii, some things happened here and there. I moved out of there.
You were staying with BJ?
Yeah, I live in the gym. Like I'm a gym rat. Like I rather sleep in someone's gym than at their house.
Yeah.
Just because at their house they're gonna have their everyday stresses, and those stresses are gonna be directed towards me. And I guess the guy that just showed up to BJ Penn's before me caused a lot of trouble in the town. Like,
oh really?
He's like going after like girls and stuff. Like, he's making, it's like certain things you can't do in a small town, and so like I didn't want to pay the price for his ignorance, so I just stayed to myself.
Interesting.
And I stay in the gym, and it would get crazy though, because the gym, we'd leave the door open, and that didn't scare me. I was living in Brazil with the door open, but sometimes there would be some scuffles out in town. In town, there's only like 2 bars. There's only 2 bars over there. There was like Mikey's and Shooters. So anyone that came to Hilo and they wanted to go out at nighttime, they went to one of those 2 places. And if there was a scuffle and stuff, these guys all had their homes to go to. Like, because I'm thinking like, man, if someone has got beat up from some group and they know the group, they're going to think like it's this guy's group. They're going to maybe go to this guy's gym and find this guy Pete inside this place.
These were guys who were having scuffles. These were pro fighters.
They're just Hawaiians.
But they were trained?
Who knows?
Yeah.
There'd be fight. Yeah, most of the guys you're fighting aren't innocent humans. Like, they're like, they train something.
Sure.
A lot of kickboxing out there. Jiu-jitsu is still kind of new. Like, I remember BJ friends were all telling me like, where they're from is a fighting thing. Like, he wasn't even the toughest. Like, in every house in Hilo, there's a bag hanging in the background. Like
Really?
outside in the backyard, there's a heavy bag. No matter what, it's part of their culture. Same with like cockfighting and all that stuff. So they grew up fighting all the time. But what they didn't know was the jiu-jitsu aspect. So when BJ Penn came back, he had the street fighting.
I had a lot of
plus
jiu-jitsu
the Health
technique.
Gracie. And so that made him like the coolest cat in the world, I think. I think at one point in time he was for sure he was the best fighter walking the earth.
Yeah, he was. I think there was definitely a time where he was considered the pound for
No,
pound.
he's the best.
greatest, yeah.
That's it. The smartest fighter I've ever seen in my life. Like everything I did in Brazil, I was like, that was cool, that was necessary, but this guy's the smartest person I ever met in my life. He knew how to like, he's like Carlson, like he knew how to take away what was unnecessary and necessary. Like when I got back from Brazil, Carlson was no longer living in Brazil. He had moved with his son Junior in Chicago. I'd come in just for a couple days, and a lot of times, and people would visit Carlson's school, and they wouldn't want to go home. They start disrespecting, like, oh, his techniques are old. People are like, doesn't matter if you're Carlson Gracie or not. Like, young bucks really don't respect older people a lot of times. I remember this one Brazilian dude came in, and he started his like 7 a.m. Of course, like he begged for the class. He's like, please, master, can I start a 7 a.m. class, please? And then they give it to him. And then he's in there like, my techniques are new. His techniques are old. Just like trying to, people are like that, right? And so that's when Carlson had me wrist lock people. We had a little office like this and a thing. And I'd come home just for a few days. I'd come home for like a week just to see my mama. And Carlson wanted me to stay, but he's like, stay in Chicago. I'm like, look, I can't. I'm like, I'm on this thing. Like, I know you're the best coach, but these people here train for fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not here to train for fun. I can't wait at home all day just to go to class at night. I'll go crazy.
Yeah.
Or I just can't teach people privates, and just like, hey, you know what I mean? I can't do that. He understood. He's like, screw that. He's like, go fight. So go over to BJ Penn, and his dad was so cool. His dad's from Illinois, like where I'm from, the state of Illinois.
BJ Penn's dad?
Yeah, so his dad would pick me up every morning and take me to Subway, and we'd talk. His dad's like, look, Pete, he's like, we really like you. How much money you have? I'm like, $1,200. He's like, that'll last you a good 4 years here. He's like, you don't have to pay for anything. He's like, the only thing is this. I don't want you ever talking to my son about anything not involving fighting. He's like, my son will never have to pay a bill. He'll never have to mail a letter. He'll never have to talk about anything that has to do with fighting. Maybe when he's done, maybe that. He's like, but please, anything you speak to him about has to do with fighting.
It has to do with fighting.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're the coolest dad ever. I'm like, can you doubt me? That's when I told his dad, like, I'm not here to be a dick. I know I'm in the same weight class as your son. I said, I'll give you 50% of any money I make fighting. He's like, don't worry about that. You'll be ready in a year and a half.
So are you planning on doing MMA?
Oh, of course. Of course. Like, jiu-jitsu is already like, I was like, dude, I was tired of washing my gi. I'm like, this gi's getting annoying. I'm trying to travel everywhere, and I get this stinky gi. It's just like, it's getting annoying. Like, I remember my friend, Sergey, really tough. He comes train with us in Chicago before. He's been doing Sambo since he was a kid. This guy has really good leg locks. Like, he has top-notch leg locks. And I'm like, Sergey, he'll never wear the gi. Like, who asked him to wear the gi? Like, Sergey was raw. Like, he'd come train no gi with us in the afternoon and then ride his bike around Chicago, but not straight, just like conserving energy, circling in those clothes, and then come back late at night in those same clothes. He'd smell so crazy, and like, but he don't care. Like, he's not catching nothing. He's Sergey from Russia, And I noticed that, man, there's good people everywhere. You can learn from anyone. And when Sergey started teaching, like, he wouldn't teach us the leg locks. He just started doing them. Like, this dude didn't even know how to choke people. It was like straight leg lock.
Sambo?
Straight Sambo. And I'm like, Sergey, why don't you wear the gi? And he looked at me all crazy. He's like, gi is children gi. He's like, man, no gi. Man is man, fight is fight. He's like, gi, child.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, Sergey. Sergey's like very like this, but he's still tough. And I always wonder why he's not like in the UFC or anything like that. But like I said, a lot of people, they're doing this for more than prizes.
Mm.
And back to the wrist locks. Fredson had come over to my house. Fredson calls me up one day. And he's just like, Pete, I need to get out of Brazil. Like right away. I'm like, what's wrong, Fredson? I'm like, don't even worry about it. I sent him a ticket and he came over. And then we just do more wrist locks at my house in Chicago. And Fredson moved over to Vegas, started teaching. I think he teaches for the UFC, not the UFC gym. He teaches for Zuffa.
Mm-hmm.
So if you work for...
Oh, really?
If you work for Zuffa, like this was Zuffa right here, you get to do classes with Fredson.
Sure.
Because Fredson was around Oswaldo all the time, and Oswaldo always have like high politics people. Like Oswaldo has like he don't have that many students, but the ones he has are super important.
Sure.
So Fredson know how to treat like people that are of like high caliber in other situations. So Fredson understands that. They love him at the UFC, and Fredson was the best wrist locker. And then what I did was, as the moves started developing, like I haven't even seen these guys in 15 years. This is 15 years ago Fredson came over to my house. It seems like yesterday. He stayed a few months. But what I was able to do was all the moves are changing. Like, and after that, people start baseball choking people. Then they start darts choking people. Then they start Mars choking people. Then they start farce choking people. Then they start doing all types of heel hooks and 50-50 guards. I'm like, wait a minute, dude, I got to adapt all my wrist locks to these moves.
Mm.
And so that's why I don't think anyone would be mad at me, if anything, because mine are I learned the principle, which is what? Bend the wrist and control the elbow. If you want to make it worse, add a twist.
Mm.
And once you understand those concepts, it's going to keep going. I just don't get stuck on wrists. Like the wrist lock's developed to bust the frame. Like someone's making a good frame.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like before we started wrist locking people, if I'm putting a frame, they're trying to like bring the frame across.
Yep.
And hit a katagatame. If a guy understands how to frame well, that doesn't work. Like you have someone in half guard and you're going to bring their arm across. I'm sure that no one's going to be able to do that to you. I'm not going to be able to pop your elbow across and have you all dangling. But let's just say I do caught it and I can't choke you. I got a wrist lock right there.
Mm.
You know? So there's wrist locks from all these positions, from darce chokes. Boom, you're going through. From the half guard, everyone started developing these half guards where they come under with I know Gordo, they call it like the coyote half guard, and you have Glover's deep half guard. But like coyote half guard, they're coming under like the same opposite leg of what they control with their legs. I call it coyote guard from Lucas Lecce. He's the guy. I have names. When I learn a move, I associate a person with that move.
Okay.
Because if I want to watch it, I want to watch it from that guy. Mm. If I want to learn like Peruvian neckties, I'm going to watch it from Tony. I have videos from him in the jungle when we train. If I want to learn heel hooks, I'm gonna put up Dean Lister. I'm going to put up Danaher Death Squad, you know. If I want to learn how to freaking wrestle and be calm, and look up Nicky Rodriguez. Shout out to Nicky Rodriguez. I don't study many people like per year. I just like watching him because like, man, the kid's a beast. Mm. He's always working out, and he's working out with people smaller than him, so you know he's cool. He's not hurting them.
Yeah.
He could like snap his little brother and his little brother's friends. He's working out with them like main training partners, so I respect that, like knowing how not to hurt people. And then you got like, you know, you study Danaher Death Squad, those guys. Study Nicky Ryan, like the kid's probably had his legs abused since he could walk, you know, so it's going to be interesting to see him.
Yeah, very interesting.
And then back to Danaher, I'd hear stories about him because you have guys like Gordinho come over to Henzo's and all these other people, and they're very good at, when you play butterfly hooks, they would float over the legs. And when they would do that to me at Gracie, I'd be like, man, I bet I could just leg lock these guys. Like, they're just floating over me. I have both hooks inside. And then boom, you already hear stories about how Danaher's leg locking all these people visiting from Brazil.
Yeah.
Because Renzo's is pretty much like a Gracie Baja, but it's Renzo's.
Yeah.
So like the best guys from Baja, a lot of them would go over to Renzo's and train. And so Danaher probably got to mix the Russian, the Lister, and against Brazilians that would come over and play that game. So what better place to test your skills than at Renzo's? Because there's imagine how many different Brazilians come through the door there. It's got to be like mini Brazil. And imagine how many Russians have come through the door. So it's like mini Sambo as compared to any other school in the world.
Yeah.
Like how many Russians are coming through your doors? Not as many. But in New York, they're everywhere. And so it's interesting to see. And I like the fact, I'm bringing up Danaher, but right now I think about those guys because, I'm running out of clothes, clean clothes. And I have to walk. I've been walking around the UK with rash guards on. And I always wear a fanny pack.
Just like John.
Just like John, and like, never met really any. Well, I've hung out with them a lot. And he makes fun of me. But he's like that. He's an anti person. Like just being anti, that's too much. I like anti. If you just go against something,
for the sake of it,
that's expected. I'll go against it.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll go back to it. So if you look at Glover, he's always wearing a shirt from Shoei Roll. It says anti leg lock. So yeah, we're anti people, and I think learning your defenses and stuff is you got to be anti it. In order to learn like a defense to a heel hook, you got to be anti, and then in order to get to learn, you got to be anti. It's pretty much like Nick Diaz says. He's like, he loves something so much till he hates it. And then he'll love it again even more. Because that love disappears sometimes. If you let that love just turn to hate, most people let it go at that point. But no, like our goal is to love something so much until we hate it. And then once we hate it, the love's going to be so much better. But a regular anti-person is going to love something so much till they hate it and say bye. But no, we're like, we love it. We love it so much, and I hate this shit. Fuck it. I don't want to do it no more. You take some time off. Use a secret weapon, which is rest. Rest up. Boom. It's kind of like people that like smoke weed or something. Maybe they're smoking every day, and they wake up. They're just like, man, I don't feel right. My lungs hurt. Everything. Screw this shit. They quit. Boom. Maybe they quit for a week. They come back to it. Like, oh, I missed it. So it's like the same thing. Did
you ever get like that with jiu-jitsu? You've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time, like 25, 30 years?
It gets hard in jiu-jitsu if you get like an injury. But other than that, no. I don't like following people's other leads. Like, I don't like going to classes where people are just trying to make me tired.
Sure.
I like learning. All that other stuff can be done after class or whatever. But like, yeah, if I'm going to jiu-jitsu class and you're trying to kill me in the warm-up, I'll probably just like, I'll just walk away. I'm like, dude, I'm not. But if you're showing like good ass moves, there's no way I'm gonna ever no way. That's why I hang out with Glover. Glover's the freshest of the fresh. Like anything he learns is coming straight out the brain. And we study a lot of jiu-jitsu. Like I tell everyone, like you need to be studying jiu-jitsu at least me and Glover study at least like 3 hours a day jiu-jitsu on YouTube.
How'd you do it?
Okay, so. Like, how do I do it? Well, here's what I tell people. Like, you have to know who to study and what to study, right? Everything's about precision and timing. Any type of combat, anything. Like, it's not about speed and power. You got to be precise, and you got to have the right timing. That's the same with boxing. Jiu-jitsu is infinite, just like numbers. Why? A number is infinite. You put all these numbers together. You put a 5, a 6, a 3, a 2, a 1. Just keep adding them. It can go on forever. And that's how jiu-jitsu is, too. So the way I study is I study highlights. Like I want to get to the nitty gritty, and I know there's no highlights of me wrist locking people. I had a few injuries. I have wrist lock in the world championships. I've won matches 3 or 4 seconds. Scotty from On The Mat has all my videos, but he owns hospitals now, and I don't know where those videos. I remember he told me like come to Texas and look for them. But that's where Flow Grappling's at. Anyway, it's funny. It's Scotty. Flow Grappling pretty much is a combination of On The Mat and Paquetaz videos. Like if you look at Balea, he's posting all his videos. They're all like, where's like Balea's breakdowns. Those are all Paquetà's videos. My friend I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Because Paquetà didn't want to be a professional fighter. He was already like had a good job. He had some like union job in the school system. So and he didn't want to lose being in jiu-jitsu. So Carlson like, porra. See, before us, it was porra. You know, so like we had a porra meter with Carlson. One time he went up to like 50 in a minute. And he's just like, porra, porra, porra. And he told Paquetà, porra, you need to film all the matches. And so he'd be there. No one saying anything. Carlson having filming. He'd have all the videotapes. I think a French guy from Hickson ended up buying all the videotapes. So he's got like the whole library. But a lot of that stuff's obsolete right now. Like, you don't need to study all that. If you want to study, boom, highlights. Okay, so example, if you're a blue belt, you go Blue Belt World Championships and just start studying highlights. Blue Belt World Championships, start with 2019 and then go to 2018, 2017. That's what I tell my guys, 16, 15, go all the way down till you can find them. If you're a purple belt, start studying the purple belt ones. Doom. If you're, and then after the Worlds, go to something like Pan Am's. Know those. After Pan Am's, do Brazilian Championships. Do them. Okay, so you got all that with the gi. That's a good way. If you're black belts, study highlights of the World Championship from 96 all the way through.
Yeah.
But start with the most recent because you're going to see more and more like hugging as you go back.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the guys are more Jiu-Jitsu is more like maybe MMA based where you just hug the guy.
It's getting more dynamic?
It's getting way more dynamic. Before it was like you see guys.
Is that from the wrestling?
It's from time. Time, precision and timing. Right now we're at a timing with this internet where you can study.
Yeah.
And we don't only study like me and Glover, so we'll study that. We study Abu Dhabi. Like to me, sorry, I'm not taking this away from anybody. Don't get offended. Well, hopefully I offend you because I'm anti everything. But like to me, dude, there's world champions. You could be a world champion in jiu-jitsu and just figure out like right before they close the brackets, like what division to enter. You know, enter like brown belt, like super heavyweight or something.
Yeah.
You just look for the division with no people in it. There's going to be one.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a medal. And you could go around saying you're world this, world that.
Yeah.
So I don't pay attention to world champions right now. Because you see world champions going to EBI. The world champions at hugging somebody. And you see them going to EBI and get smoked. So I just look at like everything is the same. Except for UFC and Abu Dhabi champion.
Yeah.
And everything else is just practice for that.
Sure.
So like if I go into a guy's school, like, oh, he's 4-time world champ, cool. Abu Dhabi champ is different. I put him on a different, okay. Oh, he MMA champ, Bellator, nothing is Bellator, sorry. But it's different than UFC champ. You know what I mean? A guy's a UFC champion, it's a way different deal. Like you hold the belt up in Mexico, UFC champ, they know what that is.
Yeah.
You hold up Bellator champ, it's practice for the UFC because they're all going to ask you, like most people, if they don't know too much about it, like, you train UFC? Like that's what it is. So as I tell my guys, don't stress out over losing a tournament. You know what I mean? It's just experience, like start stressing out if you lost, because I help Dominic Cruz prepare for his fight with Cody Gambrandt. We all go over there and we had like 20 people with. And this is a true story. Pro fighters. And we didn't have tickets to get in UFC. I still have my contacts from Carlson back in UFC. I call them up, like, boom. No, I emailed them, and they sent me somewhere else. And they sent me like 10 tickets on the house. So we got everyone, I get UFC fighters in the UFC, because they weren't maybe not currently fighting ex-fighters.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe UFC forgets about people. So show Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz lost a belt that day. And they told me like this, they're like, Pete, thank God for you coming with. They says, because it would have been hard losing the belt without you. Because I've lost more than anyone. And I'm not even getting all that. But the thing is this, well, not anyone. I've lost more than a fair share. But I get a lot back too. So Dominic Cruz lost the belt, and he took it like a man. We have a general rule, like if you lose, you have 24 hours to mourn. That's it. After that, shut up.
Yeah.
'Cause no one cares. It's only damaging you, and it's damaging us. And so I learned that from Dominic. Dominic's one of the smartest people you ever meet in the fight game. Like, I'm around him, I feel like I'm around like an accountant / like lawyer. He's like that. The dude's smart. And shout out to Dominic Cruz. Thanks for always letting me stay at your house whenever I need a place. And Jimmy Harbison, all my friends over there. God bless. Because when I broke my back in a car accident, Chicago was 30 below zero. And I went over there to live with Glover, but Glover was traveling too much, like going in vans and stuff, driving across the country doing seminars. Because Glover, he wants me to do like a podcast with him that rode on the, something like being on the road and being on the mats. Like we just travel around and like do podcasts. But we have all these ideas, but it's just like at the end of the day, we just want to take a rest and train. And shoot, you got all those guys. Like I said, man, if Dominic Cruz lost a belt and he had it for so many years, it was like something like 10 years. It's like a 10-year reign between WEC and I think in the WEC, shout out to Miguel Torres. It was the last guy me and Carlson were trained together, him and Stephan Bonner. And I always helped Carlson with those guys. Stephan Bonner, shout out to him. Why? He was only a freaking blue belt. He knew one submission hold at Kimura, and he pulled it off in the UFC. And his fight with Forrest Griffin, like one thing you'll see about these old school fighters, like Customato, Coach Type, and Carlson, like they're fighting with you in the cage. So Stephan goes into the Ultimate Fighter. At that point, UFC was dead. People were tired of paying like $65 for pay-per-view for junk fights with no real action. Stephan goes on there and gets that. They get the double contract where they both got the $100,000 contract, and now everyone in the universe saw
that fight changed the game. Yeah.
That fight changed the game. And I have a friend over here. Shout out to him, Brandon. It's hard for me to pronounce his last name. It's hard for me to pronounce things out here, but he's in Manchester, and he's a tough ass fighter. He trains with Dominic Cruz over there, and he's in Manchester. They invited me over. But I think it might be out of the way, and he's in training camp right now. And he fought in the UFC contenders and won, but actually lost. But he was an Ultimate Fighter over here too. He'd won that a while ago or something. But that's how I met him, because he come by Dominic Cruz. When I broke my back, I went over there to San Diego and lived with Glover. Glover was traveling too much, so. In the middle of the night, I didn't want to tell my friend I had to leave because it's always hard for me to tell people. Sometimes I escape in the middle of the night. So I just like shoot in Brazil too. Like, how do you tell those guys like you're moving away? Like they might hurt you the next day in training. So I say, I'm gone. I walk over to Mexico and find these hot springs and start fixing up my back. And right away I teach some jiu-jitsu over there to pro fighters. And I only teach them like one move at a time. Like I taught him the Armin guillotine. And one of the guys, Puas, just fought in Combat Americas. They got good boxing. Boom, boom, boom. Put him Armin guillotine, start choking him. I'm like, I feel proud. I'm like, that's the move I taught the kid. Like, I taught him one move for 3 days, and he's already pulling it off. And so shout out to Mexico for taking care of me with my broken back because, shoot, the place is just tremendous to me. I lost my passport on so many painkillers and stuff. I lost all my luggage so many times, and people know me. There's no jiu-jitsu, and they bring my stuff right back to where I stay. And so that's where I was, over the past 2 years, and they want me to take over a boxing gym over there now.
In Mexico?
Yeah, my boxing coach, he's like, I don't even box. That's what the crazy thing is. I do shadow boxing, hit the double M bag. The way my back is, I can't really do any type of fighting. And my coach, he's like the Carlson Gracie of boxing. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, he was never even a boxing coach. He used to make mitts and gloves for a living. And guess who walks in the door? A couple of brothers, Julio Cesar Chavez. So my coach was responsible for their training.
Wow.
And then he's the best of the best. And I'm being injured, walking with a cane, back brace, 3 back surgeries, artificial discs. I just go straight to the boxing gym every day and sit down and hang out. And then, shoot, they're like, you got to take over. So that's where I'm at right now in my life.
Yeah?
And, well, I still have a gym in Chicago and all that stuff, and I don't need to move to Mexico, but, like, the old man can't rest until someone's there
Sure.
that he trusts, and he trusts me. I don't even know how to box, and he told me, don't worry, he was never a boxing coach either, but he just learned from the old schoolers how to do certain things.
He wants you to go and coach boxing?
Just to take over the gym. Like, they have the coaches in there.
Okay, yeah.
The guy has a lot of money.
Mm.
Like, they know how to box. They just like me being over there. I sit there and hang out. I understand. I've lived in gyms my whole life. So I understand. Like, I can look right at someone and be like, oh, that guy lives in the gym. I'll look at that one and be like, oh, that guy hurts people. I'm like, oh, that one's got money. That's the loyal one. You know, that's the one that might steal something. You know what I mean? Oh, that's the girl. You better not talk to her because everyone's going to beat you up. And then that's the girl that might beat you up. You know what I mean? They're everywhere. And then you got the cool people that are like, you hang out with Glover? And I'm like, yeah. And then you already know what's going down next. So, yeah, thank God for this because my family was broken. You know, my brother, I have an older brother, 20 years older than me. So my older brother's 60.
Wow.
And my youngest brother is 4.
Get out.
Yeah, so I have family 56 years apart. And so I really don't have a home.
Crazy.
Yeah, I just travel and I go to Chicago. My gym's been there 12 years. I got awesome fighters. One of my fighters just fought again. And, you know, sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. They're nicer to me after they win. They sometimes hate me when they lose. And I love you guys. I'm not throwing you off the team. And if you guys lose or if you become UFC champ, throw a shot out. What the hell? But when they're going through the amateur ranks, it's a lot of stress. And I prefer not even to deal with it. I'm like, hey, when you're in UFC, just like, hit me up. I'll come. Jeez. And that's about it. You know, we're wrist locking the world. If you'd like to set up a seminar, I'll come to your gym. But I'm not going to want to charge you a ton of money. So, like, be cool. Find me other gyms in your area. And then I'll come hang out because I don't want to be, I'm not Abu Dhabi champ. You know, I know if Galvao shows up, you're paying him. If I show up, you're probably not going to want to pay me just because I'm not the current. You have to be the current and reigning in this sport. This is the hardest sport in the world. Like I said, if you're a plumber and you're an average plumber, you could buy a house, you can buy a car, you can have a family. You know, in order to do that and live off jiu-jitsu, you have to be exceptional. Like, I want to see a jiu-jitsu person buy a house, a car, and have a family. Like, that person's putting in way more hours than that plumber. And when you're paying for privates, you're paying for seminars, you're not paying for the stupid hour, you jackass. You're paying for all the person knowledge and time they put in to break everything.
This is so true.
down.
People don't seem to understand.
It's like, you little jackass, I just gave you 17 years of wrist locks. And you know what I mean? You're just going to try and be cheap about it and act like they don't work. And that's cool. Because my coach, you know, he never had any money. He exchanged money for legacy. Like Carlson, yeah. Maybe he didn't have the biggest house or car or whatever, or the biggest thing to leave his kids, but what he left was a legacy. And so I know a lot more moves than wrist locks, but like I said, since breaking my baby, before I was pressure, I put a lot of pressure. Like, in order to get wrist locks to work, you have to put pressure on people. You have to cause them to make a frame or an underhook. And then when that happens, you can bust their frame by busting out the wrist, which is the smallest lever in that frame. Other than that, you're going to have to try to push the elbow joint, which requires the shoulder to go. And any person who did Taekwondo can do this pretty hard. But when they do this, then you do this. And wrist lock yourself before you start wrist locking people. So you understand that, yeah, it could be a dick move. And you could lose some friends. But I'll be honest with you. I've lost like maybe 5 or 10 friends off wrist locks. I made like hopefully millions and millions. And, you know, when you hear wrist lock the world, I want you guys to think of Pete the Greek. And, you know, Eric Paulson, he made me feel super special one day. I walked into a gym, never met him before. And he's like, "You're teaching class today, Pete the Greek." I'm like, whoa. He's like, "Here's Pete the Greek, the only American Carlson ever trained to beat the Brazilians." So I'll just leave it at that. And they trusted me a lot. And, you know, I trained at all these other schools, but as soon as I start training, the first thing they're going to say is, like, whether you're in Brazil, they're going to say gringo. Whether you're in Hawaii, they're going to say howley. And then after that, it's of Carlson Gracie. And then that's when they're trying to freaking screw me up. You know, if you're training in Brazil and you hear the word gringo and you're the only one in the room, you know,
You're
like,
in trouble.
Not really trouble. It's like senses, be aware, because they're trying to put pressure on you. And God bless for all the, I never got injured in jiu-jitsu. Thank God. I always knew when to rest. Like Carlson, like when I got there day one, he's like, you need to rest. He's opposite Oswaldo. Rest, rest, rest. And then my boxing coach is telling me, like, a pro fighter should wake up in the morning, run like 35, 40 minutes, go to sleep, wake up at noon, train for an hour, and that's it. Then you got to keep the brain occupied, whether it's with family or religion or whatever, having fun. A lot of people smoke weed. Like, why does Glover smoke so much weed? Why do a lot of people? It's because it's just killing time. It's keeping the brain occupied. Because a fighter, if it doesn't have something to think about, it'll start cannibalizing itself. It'll start thinking like, oh, I'm not training enough. I'm not doing this enough. I'm not doing that enough. But once you have your routine down, I believe you can get it done in an hour, you know, quick. Imagine like Gordon Ryan's young now. When he's my age, when he's 40, him and his little brother can get a lot done in 1 hour and be done with it. And then, of course, you have to do your cardio in the morning every day. You have to. Best time to do it is 5 a.m. If you do it in the afternoon, you're actually hurting yourself. You're just getting pollution in your lungs. You might as well just stay in the house. But you get up 5 a.m., you get the good air in your lungs, and you take a rest. And that's how I base a lot of my jiu-jitsu stuff off boxing, because my coach, he's 85 years old. He has the longest lasting boxing gym on the border of Mexico, which has been there for 45 years. And he's had a lot of world championships, so he's seen all the extremes. And so I just listen to him when it comes to like a fighter's mentality. And he says the fighter's brain's not occupied. They can do anything. They can hurt people. Like, it's dangerous to live with one of those people if they're not occupied. Like, what do they do when they're bored? Start hitting things? So the physical part is easy. It gets more mentally. And that's where I'm at. Since I had my injury, it's way more mental to me. Like, thank God, like, no one trying to spar me, because I am that person. Like, I am going to try. If someone can't keep rolling, even with my Lego chips in my neck, I'm always going to go for the toughest. A lot of people, a lot of gyms, like example, some tough guy comes to my gym, I always want to take him first. A lot of schools, like, they'll let all their tough guys at him first and wait to get him last. No way, I go right at him first.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes. But thank God, you know, my reputation speaks for itself, and I don't have anything to prove. I let the UFC champ or the Abu Dhabi champ prove it. They can prove everything, you know? That's it.
Awesome, man. I think that wraps up pretty good. I barely had to do anything that whole interview. You just kind of
I can talk about jiu-jitsu forever.
I can see that. Pete, where can people find you? Let them know.
Okay, so
someone wants you to come and wrist lock another part of the world. How do they get in contact with you?
Okay, so we're going to be at right now I'm on Instagram, which is Pete the Greek BJJ. I was against calling it BJJ for blowjobs and shit. Like, you know, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm like, Pete the Greek blowjob job. I'm like, no, but I got to make it that way because that's what people know. I had it JJ, like, Pete the Greek job. But no, it's, everyone knows BJJ. I try not to use it. You know, actually, the Gracer from Scotland, I just got back from there. So it's actually like Scottish jiu-jitsu, I guess.
Sure.
But, you know, it's not American baseball.
Yeah.
But whatever. So you can get me on Pete the Greek BJJ. You can go to my Facebook, which was shut down. It really sucks. But it's Peter Letsos. And then my gym is Rio Jiu Jitsu Chicago, new facility. My gym was burned down in a fire. Stupid restaurant next door. But we're back in business for now 6 months and going strong. Another way you could reach me is just call me, 312-714-5322. And
I usually advise against people giving out their
I
phone
don't care.
number.
Carlson used to give his card with his address to his house in Chicago to people.
Fair enough.
His home address.
You sleep with the door open in Brazil long enough. You don't care who has your phone number.
I don't
right?
care. I slept in the mountains of Peru with dogs everywhere with with Tony.
What? Wait, before we finish this podcast, how did we skip over that? You slept in the mountains of Peru?
Yeah, well, so when I got injured like a while ago, Tony calls me up, and he lives over there by Machu Picchu, but a side of it. Tony's the best friend of Leitão. Leitão is the luta livre coach.
Mm.
So Tony, he came up with the Peruvian necktie. He was in the UFC and everything.
Yeah.
He won some fights, lost some fights. The main thing was he was training BJ Penn for those fights. That's when no one could take down BJ Penn.
Yeah.
And Tony was the same weight class as BJ Penn, so he'd always fight up. So BJ'd fight 155 and Tony had to fight 170. Like, you know, most people nowadays, they'd be training with the guy and be like, I challenge you. And then want to fight him and get a bigger fight. But Tony always fought up. And respect to Tony D'Souza. He's a full-time healer right now. If you're really screwed up in your body, he could fix you. But you got to know how to fix. You have to want to fix yourself. And there's no cell phones allowed or anything like that. And
Nice.
And we walk around the mountains and teach seminars, donation only. And he's fixing up some guy right now. He's been busy for like 2 years, so he's kind of busy right now. And it's hard breathing up there. It's hard living. Like you got to be tough as tough to live with Tony. Tony's a Peruvian savage. He's the first fighter from Peru to fight in UFC, and Tony's really cool. Like, we'll be up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere, and then he'll be like, hey, Pete, let's go check them. We'll go down, go to the city, and do an interview on national TV. So it's like that in Peru and these countries. Mexico's the same way. The guy Mario Delgado, I knew him he's on TV. It's just like in these countries, you can get on national TV if you're a fighter quick. Not in the United States, but like over there for sure. Another place you can find me is... if you're in the UK, talk to my buddy over here. I don't know his exact. What would be your Instagram? Coolaz, but how do you spell it? K. I got my buddy in the UK over here. You can also contact the Raspberry Ape.
Yeah, hit me up if you want to get hold of Pete, and I'll put you in contact with him.
And then, depending on where I'm at, like if I'm in Mexico, you're not going to find me. I don't want to be found. Yeah, if you start going around asking questions about me in Mexico, you might get in trouble. Like, you show up to my boxing gym looking for Pete, they're going to look at you funny. And where else can you find me? At my gym in Chicago, Rio Jiu Jitsu, a.k.a. Pete the Greek Jiu Jitsu, a.k.a. wristlock the World headquarters. And that's right over there in the heart of Chicago. And Chicago's not dangerous, you know, like they put on TV. Chicago's a cool place. And it's my home. I feel like since I'm from there, I can travel anywhere because Chicago's like a mini nation. You know, it's not really a city. You got, like in the block I live on, I guarantee you within 2 blocks, I got people from every country in the world. So if I could actually just get everyone outside their house, I could wristlock the world on my block. But I'd rather just do it. And I got famous more in wristlocks in California because everyone there skateboards. Yeah. And they've fallen on their wrists like 1,000 times. Yeah. So like, you can't armbar them. You can't really choke them. But if you grab their wrist, they're like, ay, 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 ay. Or, woo. You can see some of my videos with Bernardo Faria. You know, most of the people make the same noises. Yeah. Some type of ay, 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 ay. Or ah. Some type of universal language, and you contact if you don't want me. If you know you don't have a gym or whatever. If you do have a gym and don't want me near you, just get the video on BJJ Fanatics.
There you go.
And I like them. Why? Because I've been doing this my whole life since 14 years old. I was doing Taekwondo before that since 3 years old with my dad. So it's like you just hear stories of people doing videos with people and getting ripped off. Like, you end up doing a video, and then the guy tells you, like, oh, well, it didn't turn out how we want. And then, of course, he distanced himself. The next thing you know, it comes out. So it's like horror stories. With the Fanatics, I see friends of mine actually, like, doing well with that. And so I took a chance, and they flew me out to Boston, and we put some wrist locks. I don't know how many I put on there. There's got to be a lot, because the little video at Faria, he said, did 37 wrist locks.
Wow.
In like 7 minutes. In my mind, I did maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because to me, they're all the same. You grab the damn wrist and you bend
variations.
it. You take it and you bend it one way, or you bend it the other way. And if you want to make it worse, you do like a wrist hook. You hook it at the end and just dominate the elbow. And anywhere there is like a good way to practice, just get one of those books. Like I buy one of my students worked in one of those warehouses. I have every single Gracie book, every single one. So my students would just give it. Shout out to Chris Reyes. He gave me these books. Boom, boom, boom. Shout out to my team, my family, my mom, my dad. Thanks for letting me do jiu-jitsu and get in touch with my ancestors. Because there's got to be like some ancient Greek god or somebody that, they have Achilles, but they had to have the wrist guy. They had to. Like when you go to the statue, they got cauliflower ears and stuff. Yeah. So
for sure.
Contact me. I like Europe. I'm from Greece. And who else you can find me through Glover. Like if I'm ever like in a desolate place, just contact Glover, and we could do super seminars at your school too, not just me. We could bring me and Glover to your place. And then you see like a balance of opposites right there. You're going to see like the freshest, and then you're going to see like an archaic all together. And damn, then you got a super seminar. And then between me and Glover, I think you got pretty much, I think all we would need is like some, like our wrestling's pretty good. Shoot, between me and Glover, we got everything you need. Everything else you can learn somewhere else. But between us two, we can brighten up your day and show you things that you've never saw before. I'm not going to sit here and show you a move that you already know. Then you're going to roll your eyes at me, and then I have to beat you up, or you have to beat me up. Another thing, last thing I want to add is if you lose, don't be a sore loser, because we're all winners. You want to know why? We're here. Somehow, you're like, oh, I feel a connection with you. Yeah, jackass, we're all alive in the same time period. Imagine like time, like we could all be born like 100,000 years from now. So yeah, we're all connected. We're all in it. And, deja vu, yeah, we're all right here. It's just talking, letting your spirit talk. And whether it's Galvao or BJ Penn or Jack Ray, it's all combat to me. And you could put names on it, jiu-jitsu, sambo, this, that. Dude, there's been combat since forever. Since there was like, 2 men and 1 woman, there's been the fight. Like you have, like 2 girls and 1 guy. Who gets the girl? What's going to happen right there? Well, you're just going to walk away and have no one know. So, that's where the fight started. And the fight has 2. You have the grappling part where you grab it. Just watch animals. And you have the other part where you strike it, the push and the pull. So even if, like, you don't even like striking, you should be shadow boxing, like, in the morning. Like, look at Galvao. Like, he's all punching things right now before Abu Dhabi. Why? Because too much grappling makes you too stiff. You're always pulling. So if you know how to work out the body, it's like one day you push, one day you pull. One day you push, one day you pull. Or else you're just going to get all wound up. And if you're just pushing all the time, you're going to be bouncing around like a boxer. And those guys are usually grab, right? You just grab one of them and throw them on their head. So it's like, you got to know both. And the jiu-jitsu guy looks too stiff, right? You see him throwing punches like this. So I always try to wake up and shadow box, do some type of movement, do your cardio. Cardio means heart in Greek. If you're not addressing that 35 to 45 minutes a day, you're putting your heart at risk because it's not getting that steady pace. No, sparring is not cardio. Cardio is a constant heart rate going. And if you want to last a long time, you have to do that. And then the other stuff, I'm saying as you're older, when you're a kid, you get away. But man, if you're 50 years old, doing your 35 minutes of cardio every morning, that's going to really help you. More than that shake, or more than the latest supplement. Just do your freaking cardio. That means heart in Greek. And by doing that, your whole system will appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for joining me and giving us all that wisdom. And I wish you best of luck with the rest of your travels and continuing the wristlock the rest of the world.
Hey, I want to be wristlock the world means I'm coming to every country, dude. Maybe not every island, Greece has like 2,500 islands. No, I'm not going to all those.
But every country would there.
Every country. I don't care where you're at. We're coming over. We're coming for you. And you know what? I know you're going to want to wrist lock me. Like people think I wrist lock everyone. Yeah, right. When I'm rolling people, the first submission they go, I guarantee you if I roll with you, the first submission you're going to try and hit when you're on my side control trying to bend my wrist. So it's just like, I get it. And hey, that's the whole point. That's the whole freaking point. Because I don't see myself ever making a lot of money. Well, who knows? I always imagine myself as super rich. Like, I look at myself as a gazillionaire. And I look at myself as I have so much money, I don't even care about money. And so I want us to be around. I want to be like Carlson. You know, like, shoot, they just put a statue for him in Copacabana. And they'll put more stuff for him. And shoot, it's like bronze right now, but eventually it'll be gold. If you got a gold statue in Rio, it's going to get stolen though. So, like, keep it bronze for now. And then, like, maybe I'll have I don't know about a statue. They were telling me about the Vikings over there. My friend Rob came, and I'm about to go see him in Amsterdam, Mr. Low Kick. He's best kickboxer in history of Amsterdam. Him and Ramon Dekkers. Rest in power, Ramon Dekkers. But Rob's telling me about the Vikings and the guy in Scotland saying that they don't believe in going in the ground, that they wanna be burned to go up to the sky. And he's saying the only ones that get buried are the ones that commit suicide. So yeah, I learn a lot about this stuff. That's what we're missing in jiu-jitsu, a lot of the internal stuff, a lot of the martial arts stuff, because you're learning the cheat codes day one. Day one, you're learning how to kill. So you forget about, you know, how much it took for people to learn that, and how tough it is, how much responsibility you have to yourself to freaking be the best version of yourself. That's it.
Awesome, man. But thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it, Pete.
What was that, like 5 hours?
we did 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Perfect. Then we wouldn't do like 2 hours. So I put in my head like 2 hours.
Spot on, brother. Cheers, man. Cheers. So that is it. If you want to find out more information, if you want to follow Pete, then you can check him out on Instagram at Pete the Greek BJJ. And if you want to learn about how you can wristlock the world, then go to bjjfanatics.com and check out Pete's instructional DVD, Wristlock the World. As always, if you want to contact the podcast, then you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at raspberry_ape. You can email me, which is podcast@raspberryape.com. YouTube is youtube.com/raspberryape if you want to watch this episode, assuming that you haven't already, or any of the other episodes or any other things that I have on there. That's about it, really. I will catch you guys next time. Take it easy.